Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How y'all doing? How y'all feeling? Welcome back to another edition of Get Off the Damn Fits. That's right, we're back another week talking all the latest sports, entertainment, and we are thankful that you joined us here tonight. I'm joined as I am each and every week by Calvin Thomas, Justin B. the Barber Harris. Gentlemen, how y'all doing tonight?
Man, I'm patiently waiting, man. Look at this draft.
Yeah, interesting.
What you waiting for?
Oh, it's clearly for Queen. That's all.
Oh,
You think you're going to New York?
No, this is not a Knicks thing. No, not at all.
Okay. Yeah.
This is just him being from the hometown thing. That's it.
Definitely.
I think you're going to San Antonio.
My pastor caught the train up there today. He in he with the family up there for the draft tonight. So yeah, they anticipate him going tonight for sure. He sent out a picture of the little table with his name on it.
I'm hoping Washington find a way to get back up with that 18th pick. All they gotta do is get up five or six. They got a shot to get him.
Yeah, that to me, you make that pick for box officeness, for all of that. You know what I mean? He'll mean something to the region if you get him. You sell some tickets, and he could develop right here at home. I think that's the spot. That is definitely the spot. What you think, Calvin?
I don't like rookies going to terrible teams, and Washington is definitely terrible right now.
With the last couple moves, they got an influx.
You like CJ?
They got a lot of veterans.
They got a lot of veterans. They got a lot of burning guards, but
it's veterans that know how to.
And they got cap space next year. They got cap space next year too. So
I
hate CJ McCollum, so I ain't giving him no credit.
Yeah, I'm not mad at it. But we got a lot to discuss tonight, and we will get to the NBA draft. We're going to let some time pass, see some picks go down. If anything interesting happens, of course, my fellas will be watching the ongoings, and we'll jump in. But we'll do a full review of most of the first round later on in the show. But we got a lot to cover tonight. And tonight we are starting our coverage of the NFL season that is vastly approaching. We are in June, the end of June. July is next week. And you know what that means. Training camp is right around the corner. So we're going to be taking you all the way up into the preseason, through the preseason, and all the way up to the last week, right before the season starts. We will be previewing each and every NFL team, giving everybody their due, like we did last season. We're going to start from the worst and go all the way to the best. So tonight we'll do 3 teams. Some weeks we might do 2 apiece. We'll get there. But we want to make sure that you all get a full-fledged preview of each and every NFL team, our predictions for how those teams will do. Again, it's early. We haven't seen any preseason games. Some guys might bust out in preseason and really show something that we haven't projected. But this is where we're at right now. These are the teams that have drafted early, who have had the top picks. So we're going to be talking about them tonight. And our projections on how they did in the offseason and where we see them going long term. So without further ado, let's get into it. We know the NFL is king. And around here, we don't mind talking about some football. So let's start with you tonight. Justin is going to take us away. He's going to start us off previewing the Tennessee Titans. Talk to us, Justin.
Well. Tennessee. First case, starting quarterback. Cam Ward. Those that don't know, was a slightly of a little bit of a journeyman coming out of college. He bounced around his first few years. Basically, damn near just was like a 1-2 recruit, and he took that humble beginnings and turned around the latest Miami program. Yes, Miami Hurricanes, the famous, the infamous, however you want to necessarily put it. Took that squad. And almost did some things with them. Almost took them deep into the playoffs. They didn't necessarily get that far, but from what happened, from what he changed, he definitely shows the number 1 pick. He actually, when you watch him play, when you actually watch his poise, he has he talk a little smack, but keep it respectful. Like, he's showing everything that you want out of a quarterback. the maturity of it. Is he Jason? Is he Daniels? No, we're not going to go that far because he had a phenomenal rookie year. Before him, CJ Stroud, phenomenal rookie year. So this should be anomalies within the league, but for some reason, I don't want to put that pressure on
Seems like the trend.
Titans group. But he is different. He shows up at practice 5 a.m. every day. Sometimes they got to kick him out because he's staying there too long. He's just doing all the right things so far. So I started with that. So he deserves his own spotlight when it comes to the Tennessee Titans, following great quarterbacks such as Warren Moon, such as Steve McNair. He is that next guy, unlike other people in the past. I'm not going to mention nobody, Miss Young. Biggest offseason loss. They lost a few guys, but this team was trash. So we're not even going to focus too much on what they lost because it was insignificant, to be honest with you.
I don't know, man. You're losing Harold Landry. That's a big loss. That is a big loss.
That is a big loss. However, they did pick up edge rusher. They did pick up. Olafemi. I'm gonna say that. Oh yeah, Odehio. You know, I practiced that name and I failed every time I practiced it. So, shout out to him. So they did pick him up to replace that. But you in this league, you don't replace, you need to add on. So, you know, it is what it is for them. They picked up Tyler Lockett. Not the best thing, but it's something to go alongside Calvin Ridley, so on and so forth. So they got some things they need to work on. That's why I said players a unit or what to watch for. Can he turn this Titans around like he did for the Hurricanes? Hurricanes went 7-6, then he end up being a 10-3. I just wanted to put that out there. Can Cam and the other rookies play error-free football, unlike Will Levis? We have to understand. We're going to take a break for a second. We have to understand that this team won 3 games. They probably could have won 5 or 6 games if Will Levis wasn't as incompetent at times as he was. So you hope with a more mature, slightly young, but mature quarterback like a Cam Ward, hopefully he changes that type of philosophy. This team with an average defense at best, but when you have inept quarterback play, it makes average turn into trash. That's what happens. So, you know what I'm saying? They don't have that same fight anymore. You know what I'm saying? So that's what this team dealt with the entire year. If you watch interviews throughout the season of the Tennessee Titans, you could just look at Calvin Ridley. Just look at some of his bits throughout the entire season, and the man looked defeated.
Yeah.
Each and every time.
It's interesting.
To sum this up, this team is relying on Cam Ward to change all that. Checking into the preseason up until this point, he is firing on all cylinders. The team is respecting him at a high level. So he can galvanize this team to be a little bit better than what they were. Matter of fact, they have a possibility of doubling their wins from last year. So they can get 5 to 6, possibly push for 500 or as close as you can get. I think that's the goal for season 1. Do not think of the playoffs. This is not Jaden Daniels. This is not CJ Stroud. He can be on that level, but you have to have a lot of things working for him. But I will say this moving forward, and I end with this. CJ Stroud, you now have some type of competition within this division. Read that.
Interesting. Calvin, what's your thoughts on Justin's synopsis, and what's your outlook on the Tennessee Titans?
Are you now a Tennessee Titans fan because of Cam Ward?
Well, I am a Miami guy, so when we had our options to pick, it didn't. You noticed it didn't. I didn't hesitate when it came to that.
I'm just asking the question.
Shout out first, yeah.
I'm definitely following Cam Ward, and I hope that he can have a successful career. I'll say that.
Okay. Look, I hope Cam Ward does well. I don't foresee his rookie season being successful, not due to anything on his behalf, but because of the weapons around him.
Real quick, what is your idea of successful? That's a good question.
I'm saying successful in looking at recent rookie quarterbacks, looking at CJ and Jane Daniels. CJ went second, and Jane Daniels went second as well.
Yes.
So that's the class that I'm putting him in. And in my opinion, no one thought. Now, granted, CJ had better weapons on offense. So did JD5. So that's why I can't compare them, but that's the expectation I do have for him to make his offense better. I don't know how much better, but you only have Calvin Ridley on offense. You had to redo the offensive line. You're struggling with the run game.
Line is decent.
So
Running
he has high expectation, and he has a tough schedule. I believe they play the NFC West and AFC East, I believe. It's a pretty tough schedule.
We'll see.
You can see him not being favored in any of those games. So I think that's a pretty tough schedule. So they
just got to be Jacksonville.
They may be drafting again top 3, and like I said, it won't be any fault of Cam Ward's. I like what I'm hearing so far.
I respect that.
But I like I said, he just has lofty expectations because of what I'm expecting him to see based off what other quarterbacks did when they came in. Quarterbacks who, like him, may not have been on that first choice in college, may have had to work up the depth chart. I'm just expecting him to see that. So I don't want him to have to, have a losing record and feel as though it's been a failure of a season. If he stays upright, if it continues to grow, then I think it can be a success. And then you can add more weapons in next offseason. But it's a tough division as well. And when you don't have talent, but you have a young quarterback, it could be up for a long season. But I am excited to see what Cam Ward can do. I did catch him a couple times in Miami, so I'm excited to see what he can do.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to track. Another thing that we're doing tonight is for each of these teams that we're talking about, we're going to discuss who's on the Mount Rushmore of the NFL for that particular team. So tonight for the Tennessee Titans, Justin, kick us off with who do you see as someone you would declare on the Mount Rushmore in the all-time history, not current, all-time of the Tennessee Titans. Now, that is a technicality because remember, they were the Houston Oilers.
Houston Oilers, yes, sir.
But let's stick particularly
stay with Tennessee.
With the Tennessee Titans.
Oh, no, we got to go Houston, too.
Oh, come on, man.
No.
Now you're trying to.
Okay, so it's just okay. Okay.
I'm about to say I can't go Baltimore Ravens for the Cleveland Browns. They technically they moved.
Exactly. So, Justin, give us your 4. If you don't know, folks, Mount Rushmore is 4 players. Ready, go. You had Warren Moon now. You had him before. You got to take him up. Sorry.
And Bruce. So, with that being said, hey, we fly with the punches on here. All right, Eddie George. This is easy now. Yeah, I would say Eddie George.
So hold up. So you're saying
it's fairly easy.
This makes it easy. All right, Eddie George.
I think it makes it easy. This definitely makes it easy.
All right. Who's your second?
Steve McNair. No order. This is Mount Rushmore is just 4. At the Steve, Derrick Henry.
Okay, who's your 4th? That's going to tell the story.
For them, hey, I go history. Historically had one of the greatest seasons as a Tennessee Titan. CJ.
All right. I mean, I figured that's where you would go, so that's really not a shock to me. I think that's a good list. Calvin, who's your 4?
I had the same 4. The CJ one was kind of tough, but he did run for 2,000. I think they were the number 1, number 2 seed the year the Ravens beat them.
Mm-hmm.
With CJ and I kept wanting to say Tannehill. Was it Kerry? Not Kerry. Was it Kerry Collins?
No, no idea.
I can't think who his quarterback was. I thought it was Kerry. I can't think of who it was. But I had the same 4, keeping it strictly Tennessee Titans. I went back and forth between Derek Mason and CJ. I just thought I remember Derek Mason more for his Ravens. Maybe that's because he ended his career here the last 4 or 5 years.
Great Titan.
He was a great Titan, but yeah.
All right, my 4. I got the same 3: Eddie George, Steve McNair, Derrick Henry. But I'm going defense. And if you remember, those Titans defenses
not Curse.
You and Javon
Curse.
He had 1 year.
The freak. He was important.
It was 1 year
to the history of the Tennessee. There wasn't no 1 year. They went to the Super Bowl and everything. That's what are you talking about? I know 1 year. The freak of Superman.
He had a standout 2 years, maybe.
What to the history of that team? Javon Curse, 99, 2000, 2001. What? That wasn't a 1 year. They was out routing.
You said 99 and 2001.
That's 3 years, 3 seasons. I mean, that's important. Some of the teams, some of these players that we're going to talk about, how many great years did Chris Johnson have? Like, he had
3
good years. Okay, I just named Javon Curse was a phenomenal for 3 years. He was a force for that defense, man.
Right.
The freaking Superman? Are you kidding me?
He was legit, but the other two on the other side of the ball was epic. So that's why I was like,
Look, I'd have probably,
but it's not wrong. I hear you.
I'd probably had Hainsworth before I put Javon Curse.
Hainsworth was known for what he did bad. That wasn't.
That was just Washington. Just Washington.
But that's what I'm saying.
He was a monster up until that point.
He was solid, but I'm not going to put him over Javon Curse. Oh no, not the freak. No.
This was interesting for jump. Y'all,
what's the linebacker's name? Reggie Bullock. Keith Bullock
was good. Okay, he was better than Javon Curse.
I had him before Javon Curse.
Oh no,
right, that tells you the lack of knowledge on the
but he was more.
He was a lifelong Titan.
Tennessee Titan. Yeah.
Okay. Javon Curse was the force, the driving force, all pro type of player. Come on, man. Stop playing. The freaking Superman? Are you kidding me? Anyway. Yeah, that's my list. But anyway, this was your choice. I'm just giving my rebuttal. I agree with everything else. Eddie George, Stephen Nair, some other honorable mentions that I just thought of just as, keep it a little, mix it up a little bit. You always go with Vince Young. What's wrong with Vince Young? That was a joke. Derek Mason.
Wait. If you would have had the ability to use Houston Oilers, who would have came off?
Javon Curse would have came off, and Warren Moon would have went on there for me.
Yeah, I see. Actually, it'd be even harder for me, Paul. CJ would have been gone, and I'd have been stuck on either Derek or Eddie, maybe. Like you really got to go into it because Bruce Matthews deserved to be on a Mount Rushmore list based on what he did his entire career. Just been excellent, just like a Joe Thomas or somebody like that. Like
some Earl Campbell on there?
Great. Earl Campbell he would have been an honorable mention to me.
I
don't know about that. Over Eddie George. I put him over Eddie George.
Eddie was known for getting punked. I mean, he was a great runner. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, if it wasn't for Ray Lewis, he would have been even better.
I don't know if I can.
Ray Lewis started his put a black eye on his career, but he was the lead rusher, one of the lead rushers of the league, and he went to the Super Bowl. I'm not taking. But Earl Campbell was a beast too. That's what I said.
Earl Campbell was a monster. Was tough. Yeah. So
you literally had 4 running backs up there for Tennessee. Houston.
Easy.
Yes, you could have.
You're right.
That's your thing, yeah.
Good job. So that's our list for the Titans. Let's move on. Calvin, tell us about the Cleveland Browns.
Man, the Cleveland Browns, what can I say? But what are off seasons just starting with the draft? Starting quarterback. Who knows at this point? We've seen Dylan Gabriel. We've seen Shedeur Sanders. We've seen Joe Flacco. We have no idea who will be the starting quarterback right now for the Cleveland Browns. Your guess is as good as mine. Do they have the quarterback of the future, or will they be drafting high next year looking for a quarterback? Possibly Arch Manning, but who knows? Maybe he doesn't want to go there, similar to when Eli didn't want to go to San Diego. Have no clue. Now, their biggest offseason loss, in my opinion, is their workhorse, arguably the best running back of this new Cleveland Brown generation, in Nick Chubb, who is now in Houston, had suffered that tough knee injury, not last season, but 2 seasons ago. So that would have been the 23 season. And now he's down there in Houston. And the biggest offseason addition, when you don't have a quarterback, you try to find one. And they have all season to determine if the quarterbacks they drafted are the quarterbacks of the future. So between the Shedeur Sanders and Dylan Gabriel, who they drafted in the 2nd and the 5th rounds, respectively, they have to see what they can do. They have to build an offense around them and see if they can produce with this Cleveland Browns offense, who still has Jerry Jeudy, who still has a David Njoku, who still has a decent offensive line as well, who last year they had a decent run game. So with Cleveland, it's just a matter of they have so many young guys, but they don't have a quarterback, then you have nothing. So do you have a quarterback this year, or do you have to go back in next year's draft and draft another quarterback? Which I think is what they wanted to do, which is why they did not, which is when they weren't able to trade up to get Cam Ward, which is why they just went and said, we're going to just pick as many quarterbacks as we can, 2 in this year's draft, and see if we can make something, see if we could develop one. Because at that point, you have a rookie quarterback on a great day, on a rookie caliber deal. That is how you win football games early on. So the player unit to watch I have is just the quarterback position. Let's see what they could do quarterback-wise with Shedeur and Dillon Gabriel. We know Shedeur is going to garner a ton of attention, good and some, just because they have nothing else to talk about in Cleveland besides what he does, it seems as though. So I just want to know what they're going to do at the quarterback position. I'm interested to see who starts, who takes the most reps, how quick is the hook if someone starts to play well. Do they got to kind of go quarterback by each week? How do you develop a quarterback? Because if you try to play both of them, I don't know if that works. You have to play your best one and develop the best quarterback. The questions in Cleveland start with quarterback position, and then they just go everywhere. But let's just focus on that for right now.
I honestly, if y'all recall, I was pretty high on Cleveland last year, and a lot of that was because
very high
the defense, and I think the defense is still good. I don't think they're that far off. If they can come in there and get comparable quarterback play. Remember, this team beat the Ravens late in the season, and Deshaun Watson got hurt in that game, and they fell off the cliff after that. They weren't a great team, but they showed flashes that they could put something together. They still have a good offensive-minded coach.
That was Jameis Winston.
No.
He got hurt 2 years ago. You think about the shoulder injury in Baltimore.
I thought that was last season.
That was last season.
They beat them in Cleveland last season.
No, Deshaun got that win. Then he was
Deshaun
out.
got the win, the comeback at the end.
No. That was 2 years ago. Remember last year they beat Cleveland at home the last game of the regular season when they got hurt. When they lost, it was in Cleveland.
I'm talking about this past season that just happened.
Yes.
Deshaun Watson won that game at the end. Remember?
Yeah, that's what gave everybody hope that he was actually decent, and then he was hurt.
That was 2 years ago. I'm telling you.
That was 2 years ago?
That was in Baltimore 2 years ago. The last year, it was Jameis Winston. He beat them. Remember when Hamilton missed the interception late? That was Jameis Winston. And then they turned around and beat Cleveland at the end of the season in Baltimore, that last game of the season when Zay got hurt.
Jameis beat the Ravens?
He was playing with Cleveland last year, yes. He was on Hard Knocks and everything during the AFC North version of Hard Knocks. Yes.
I really don't remember that. I thought Deshaun Watson got hurt
in Baltimore,
at the end
right?
of the game.
In Baltimore,
right?
That was in Baltimore.
You're confusing me now. I thought that Deshaun Watson got hurt at the end of the game. Go ahead, Justin. You looked it up.
You're damn right I did. I went to stat muse and it.
He wasn't out the whole last year.
He tore his Achilles.
It was Winston.
Winston beat the Ravens this year?
Yes.
Yeah.
In Cleveland.
Had 334 yards, 3 touchdowns.
That was whatchamacallit, the safety's last game starting. The one they cut, Eddie Jackson.
Wow. Man, that's how time flies, man. I could have swore that was Deshaun Watson this past year. That was 2 years ago.
That was 2 years ago, because that was in Baltimore. That was in Baltimore when he beat them late. They were up down 14 and came back and beat them. And then he hurt his shoulder that game and then missed the rest of that season. Yes. That was 2 years ago.
Jeez,
that
man,
was 2023.
Time blends together.
Yeah, November 12th, 2023.
Yeah.
Damn.
Hey. Anyway, I still like the defense. They went out. They still got a hell of one of the best corners in the league, one of the best outside linebacker pass rushers in the league, was able to pay him his money, got him happy. I'm not mad at the Cleveland defense. Again, it will all be all about the offense. I don't know who the receivers are. Can anybody tell me who their receivers are?
They got Jerry Jeudy. They still got Njoku at tight end. I don't know who the other receiver is.
Yeah. So anyway, they'll be fourth in the division pretty much. Justin, your thoughts on the Browns?
They'll be fourth in the division. Just honestly, just looking at Shedeur, hopefully they give him a shot. Like I said, we're recording this way before preseason has even started. I'm watching. The only reason I'm watching Cleveland is to see how he does for each and every game that he plays in the preseason, and hopefully he puts enough good footage on the film so we can actually see him play. That's all I care about really for this particular team. The defense is what it is, but if the offense ain't clicking, then you already know how the defense is going to be. Like they're going to be terrible, just like they was this past year. That's why they got 3 wins.
Yeah. So, like we did for the Titans, we're gonna look at the history of the Cleveland Browns, and remember, this is just the Cleveland Browns. We're not talking about the Baltimore Ravens, just the Cleveland Browns. And Calvin, who is on your Mount Rushmore for the Cleveland Browns? Come on,
in no particular order. I tried to keep this current to players that I've seen play. It was impossible.
What?
It was impossible.
Okay.
It was impossible.
Come on, you couch on that joint.
So first, Myles Garrett, arguably the greatest defender in Cleveland Browns history. So I got Myles Garrett on there. I also have arguably the greatest running back in NFL history in Mr. Jim Brown.
I think
it's in no particular order either.
We got it.
That was weird.
Third, Ozzie Newsome, arguably the greatest tight end in Cleveland Browns history. And fourth was difficult in my opinion. So I went with what I think is one of the greatest left tackles in NFL history, and Joe Thomas. That's my Mount Rushmore for Cleveland Browns.
Honestly, I agree with you. Just the wrong guy, but right.
Yeah.
Charged to my head, not my heart. I saw the helmet and was like,
I was like, wait, is that Jim Brown?
Okay. All right. So Ozzie, Joe Thomas, Jim Brown, and Myles Garrett. I think that's the list. That's my list. Like, I really mean, with some honorable mentions in there, but
it wasn't honorable. It was
from a pass rush perspective, running back, offensive lineman, and tight end. That basically encapsulates the Cleveland Browns. You're not going to really think about quarterback, too much with Cleveland. No. You're not going to really think about, even though they have had some, like we could talk about some honorable mentions in a second. But that's my list. Justin, who
Joe
you got?
Flacco, the greatest quarterback in Browns.
Yeah.
I wanted to show some love to two individuals first and foremost that will not be on this list, but I rocks with you. Shout out to Kellen Winslow. I don't care what you did off the field. You are a crazy guy off the field, but on the football field, you was a monster. Shout out to Kellen Winslow, the second. Shout out to Baker Mayfield. They let you go too early. You know me, and you knew it was coming around. Thank you for Cleveland for messing that up, so we can have our quarterback as of right now. But no, the list is what it is. Only other person I will think about is Clay Matthews Jr. Long-time vet for them, but that's about it. People want to throw. I've read some things. Joshua Cribbs was just like a return guy, but one of the best return guys of all time. But nah, not on this list.
Yeah. Like I say, Bernie Kosar,
he was top great. 3 in my opinion.
University of Miami, graduate from Miami.
No love for Otto Graham.
He was good. Otto Graham also. I said 2 quarterbacks. Otto Graham, again, the history, the legend of him is what it is, but I don't think any of them had the impact of these 4 guys that we went over. So again, shout out the history and knowing who's who. So let's get back to the job. So let's go with the New York Football Giants is our final team for tonight. Look, a lot of moves were made in the offseason that were head scratching, in my opinion. One of those was, they say, biggest offseason addition. I would say would be the rookie linebacker Abdul Carter, getting him in the draft. I think he's going to be very special. A lot of people are likening him to some of the greatest of all time, including Lawrence Taylor. Again, that has to be proven on the field. But while I brought up him as my biggest offseason addition, they also did bring in 2 quarterbacks, which is very rare. When you go out and you get a Russell Wilson, to bring him in to compete for the job with the guy that he played with just last, like what's going on here? Why would you go get Russ And didn't they go get Jameis as well?
Yeah.
Like, so in my opinion, they fit the same mold. In
And
my
they drafted a
opinion.
quarterback.
And then you go out and you draft the quarterback in Jackson Dart as well. And to me, you picked Jackson Dart where you did because you believe he's going to be the QB of your future. So now you're going to put yourself in a position where are you trying to win now? You have a young wide receiver in Malik Napier who showed very high promise last year. The fan base is going to want to try to win. You lost Adoree Jackson in the offseason, who was your best cornerback, but the defense is pretty good. The defense does have some weapons. They do have some pass rush. You add a younger Abdul Carter to that mix. I don't know what you're doing at the running back position. We know they lost Saquon 2 years ago. Do they have a good replacement for him? I'm not sure. We'll have to see that. But you have two veterans in Russell and Jameis in the quarterback room to hopefully show Jackson Dart the ropes. They passed on Shedeur Sanders and picked Jackson Dart, which a lot of people rose an eyebrow to in the draft. But that means they saw something in Jackson Dart. You know how Brian Daboll is as a play caller. He's very cocky, very arrogant. He knows what he wants. Clearly, he saw something in Jackson Dart. But this is the same guy who stuck with Daniel Jones for as long as he did. The same team that picked Daniel Jones over Saquon Barkley. So their judgment on team talent evaluation really isn't that high, in my opinion. So I don't have high hopes for this team. They're in the division with the Philadelphia Eagles, the reigning Super Bowl champions, the Dallas Cowboys, and the Washington Commanders. All three teams that look to be at a certain level that the Giants can only dream of being at. So they're clear number 4. But this will be a year to watch. Do you go with Russell or Jameis and try to win now with teams with quarterbacks who like clearly are over the hill? Or how long do you wait to go put a Jackson Dart in there to see what type of rapport he can build with a Malik Napier? Going to be very interesting to see. I think this is one of these teams that we could be talking about in a year or two if this was the building block, and we'll see. Justin, your thoughts on New York Giants?
They are in for another terrible season. That's all I can really feel about that. I wish I can say more. I'm not really checking for a dual caller like that. Why? Because they said that he was going to be LT. I hate when people get compared to LT. Like, stop. It's when y'all said the same thing about Michael Parsons, and he didn't live up to it. Stop comparing it to the best edge rusher of all time. There's so many others you can choose from up until that point, right? They always go after that, and I get why. And didn't he want to wear 56 or something at first? They told him no. Like, come on, bro. Like, that bothers me. That throws me off. The continuity of this team. What you mean, why?
Wow.
You paying homage.
You need to prove yourself first, and then you change the number or something like that. Don't do it off the top. You ain't that good yet. So this team just throws me off, and it will forever throw me off. They don't know what they're doing. That their franchise doesn't know what they're doing. You bring in 3 to 4 quarterbacks. One's supposed to be your long-term quarterback, and I'm assuming I'm just going to see him next year. I'm not even going to see him this year. That's what it looks like if you got Russell Wilson and Jameis, unless you want to trade somebody. Like they don't know what they're doing, and you think that it will get better because they didn't know what they were doing last year, and then they got rid of Saquon, and Saquon goes to another team and was a Super Bowl. So this team is just in flux, and I could care less about the New York Giants.
Calvin.
They don't care.
I mean, I think they have the potential to have one of the best defensive lines in football next year, with just the talent that they have on there. Everything else, don't know what you're going to get from quarterback-wise. I don't understand the point of drafting a young quarterback and then signing 2 quarterbacks. Maybe if you sign one of them, one experienced backup or experienced veteran, that's fine. But why do you sign Jameis and Russell? Are you trying to win? Or are you trying to play for the future? Because I think Russ goes in, they fully expect him to start. We know how Russ is, how he prepares, and how he can be annoying to an extent. So why do you want that in your locker room if he's not going to be, first in line? So I'm not sure what the Giants' plan is. I think they just trying to throw it at the wall and see if it sticks, especially post Saquon. I'm glad he was able to get out of there because he wasn't going to have the success that he had. On another note, dealing with Russell Wilson, did y'all see the headlines from that story that leaked with Russell Wilson about his contract in Denver? You know, with the whole Lamar thing, I know we'll talk about that later, about how that all came out in that report about Lamar. So apparently Russ when he first went to Denver, he said he wanted a fully guaranteed contract, like 7 years, $300 million. They said yes. Then they had a change in ownership and they backed out. And that was all in the report as well. So I'm like, that could have been the worst contract, even topping Deshaun's, but that was just 3 years ago, and they
all
still
things considered. Yeah.
But with the Giants, last place in the division, but you got to get the rookie out there because I think 2026 is the best QB class of the last 10 years. 10 years or so. Just with the amount of quarterbacks that had the potential to be in the first round, so you got to throw a young guy out there to see if he's your quarterback of the future or not. So you got it. So at some point he needs to be out there over Russ and James.
Throw the ball to Malik Neighbors. Don't take much.
Yeah,
just throwing the ball.
That's true.
But I really think they brought Jameis because of Jameis getting a lot of good PR, and he probably do some TV spots, and Jameis a hell of a talker. You know what I mean? In New York, the biggest market,
they got him for everything not football related.
He a hell of a motivator. He might turn into an assistant coach. You know what I mean?
Just got drafted.
Who did he go to?
Atlanta.
Ooh.
Stay at the strip clubs, young man.
We went to Atlanta. That ain't bad. That's not bad.
They gotta be trading Clint.
Didn't they just get Porzingis too?
They got Porzingis. They got
Clint out. I say Clint out of there. He's gone.
They got Porzingis. They got Rishache, the guy they drafted #1 last year. They got somebody else.
Is the crowd going crazy? Oh, you just saw
excited. I just peeped over and looked at him. So he already on stage. And they got him, so that's 3. So Clint got to be out of there. They got somebody else too. But
okay, Derek Queen.
We'll see.
Yeah, they're showing his highlights now. Okay, Queen.
They got proposed trade, but is that involving them or not?
So he went 13. Player rights traded to New Orleans.
Derek Queen?
Yeah.
I didn't see that come across yet.
So you going to New Orleans?
They say player rights traded to New Orleans from Sacramento.
Okay, so
it does say proposed trade to New Orleans.
Oh, that's terrible. Oh, that's not good at all. Oh, you don't want to go there. Oh no.
Yeah, what I'm saying, Derek Queen is headed to New Orleans after Atlanta traded number 13 pick.
Damn it, Calvin! You gave us bad information. You got me all excited.
I just thought of Atlanta. I got excited for him.
Zion. No.
We know Zion gonna be there.
He better not pick up them eating habits. Oh man. Anyway, let's move on. As far as the Mount Rushmore of the New York Giants, to me, this is not that difficult. I didn't have a difficult time at all coming up with this particular list for myself. Of course, number one has to be Lawrence Taylor, one of the greatest, if not the greatest defensive player of all time. Number two, in my opinion, is Michael Strahan. Strahan was classic. He helped lead them to 2 Super Bowl appearances, 1 Super Bowl championship under him. That first Super Bowl in 2000, if y'all remember, Strahan made himself a house. Like, he was like a star, and he came from nowhere. He's sack leader. I think he had like 20. He broke the record, even though we all know it was bullcrap the way Brett Favre just laid down for him at the end. But great stuff there. For me, and I know this might be controversial, I'm going OBJ. Look, if we talking about the Giants and box office, and y'all know how I look at superstar, OBJ was box office. That man, I know he never won nothing there or whatever like that, but just to be at the peak OBJ was must-see TV. And he goes on my Mount Rushmore. And then I'll go Eli at number 4. Justin, who you got as your 4?
I'll take O out and I'll put it in Phil Simms.
Okay. I like Phil. I like him better as a talker, but What about you, Calvin?
I'm taking OBJ out and putting Harry Carson in. Probably the greatest linebacker in Giants history.
I agree with that. I just had to give OBJ some love because I knew y'all was going to bring up the other ones. Harry Carson was phenomenal. Him and LT on the same defense, just that's scary. Bill Belichick had hell of a time back then. Good stuff for him. So yeah, that's our list right there. This is probably the first time we all differed on at least one person, so that's good. But yeah, that's for the New York Giants. That's we're gonna be doing this for every team in the NFL. So some of these are gonna be more interesting than others. Wasn't that hard for us tonight, but that's what we're gonna do. Mount Rushmore. So next week we'll go with the next 3 teams that finish with the worst records. I'm still tripping off this Derek Queen to the New Orleans Pelicans thing. That's got me bothered. But let's move on to what's the next on the program. We have to talk about the NBA Finals from last week. Man, if I told you before this series started that the Pacers was going to push the thing to 7 games, and after the game, a lot of people were saying the Pacers actually had a chance to win this thing had not Halliburton got hurt. That was the furthest thing from anything. After Halliburton got hurt in Game 5, we was all sitting around here talking about it's over. I said, I don't know. They probably could pull one out at home in Game 6. Calvin said, ain't no way it's over. It's over. Well, Halliburton goes out there in Game 6, gives it a heroic effort, helps push his team to a big victory at home, forcing a Game 7. Game 7, they come out. It's back and forth, nip and tuck. Halliburton hot. I think he had like 2 or 3 threes right off the jump. And then the unfortunate thing happens.
Achilles went jump.
Achilles. It jumped. But we'll talk about that in a second. Let's give some love to the team that won, to the victor goes the spoils, OKC Thunder, led by the MVP of the regular season and the finals, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, brings it on home. They are the NBA champions. They get the crown. They finish the season. A lot of people had them as the best team all year. Calvin, I know you were in early on this thing about Chet Holmgren, and you really, truly believed that he was going to be the difference maker, and I will give you your flowers. You had picked the Thunder. You stuck. You didn't pick
preseason.
Them year. You didn't pick them.
I did.
You didn't. You got on that Lakers bandwagon once Luka got there. Let's stop lying.
Before the season started, I had OKC.
Lying. But anyway, that's good. They pulled it out. Congratulations to the Thunder. And one more thing. We must note this because we've been talking about this. This NBA Finals, Game 7, was the most watched NBA Finals game in 6 years, averaging 16.4 million average viewers. So you have to give them credit. These were 2 teams that we are not household names. Nobody on these teams are household names. There's no LeBron. There's no Steph. There's no KD. There's no Giannis. There's no Boston. There's no New York. This was the Indiana Pacers versus the OKC Thunder, and people tuned in. People were engaged, and that has to be a feather in the cap of the NBA. Shout out to Shai. This might be building something. Calvin, I'll start with you. Your thoughts on the Thunder bring home the title.
Best team in the regular season, and they finished it off. Probably took longer than they expected, but they played a tough team in Indiana. But you got to give it to them. They were the best team with the best record. A team that had the MVP, a team that almost had a 2-time MVP, a team that had a pretty difficult road, went through the West, beat Minnesota, beat Denver, another MVP in Jokic. You got to give them that props. We didn't think it was going to be easy. We thought it was going to be easier than it was, but they were still a young team. They still experienced hiccups even in the finals, but were able to overcome that. And even speaking to the viewers, if Halliburton wouldn't have gotten hurt, this may have done 20 million because it would have been more interesting in the third and fourth quarter. In the third quarter, when OKC went on, I think it was a 19-2 run in the third quarter, and that kind of ended it. They were down 1 at halftime, and you were sitting here thinking, can they win this game without Halliburton? What does this say about Indiana? What does it say about the state of the league? It's still kind of F CJ McCollum as well. But what does it say about the state of the league as well? Like OKC, in my opinion, was the best team this year. They had the best player this year, and the scary thing about it is they can only get better. They have 3 picks tonight in the NBA draft. They have a player coming over from, I want to say it's France or Italy, that was a top pick that just tore his ACL going into last year's drafts, and he's going to be fresh. They still have the ability. Chet can get better. Hartenstein can get better. Lou Dort can get better. Jalen Williams could get better. They still have room to grow. It's just a dangerous team. Shout out to them for winning this title, and for what is expected to come. I think I'm happy that they won because I don't know what the storyline would have been if they would have blown Game 7 at home to a team that everyone expect them to beat. So I'm glad we don't have to talk about that. Shout out to OKC.
Justin, your thoughts?
I had no doubt that OKC was going to win throughout the whole entire Game 7. I just said it's a matter of time. Don't worry about it. And it happened. I said this a couple of games ago that Halliburton needs to sit out. It's over. I said it's over. I said it was over then. And lo and behold, he tried to do the right thing and fight through it. And now we know we probably get into it, so I'm not going to. But calf strains ain't nothing to play with. So Shea put on one of the greatest seasons of NBA history. Yes, winning MVP, winning now the Western Conference thing, the Magic Johnson Award. We're gonna toss that in there, and winning Finals MVP. Coming in second last year when it comes to MVP. So all he doing is just etching his name as one of the greatest. This is where it starts. We see how far it goes, but this is where we at with when it comes to Shea. His team played phenomenal. Chet finally came to play. All it took was like the whole entire year to do it, but he came to play, and they needed him. Jalen Williams is one of the best sidekicks that there is now. So, it's funny what a year or two would do for you. Let's just be real. It's funny what a season would do. We was talking about Boston Celtics, and they're dominant. They're like, they might win 2-3 of these things. As you pretty much know, up until this particular time, they had pretty much dismantling their team. Drew Holiday is gone, so on and so forth. Jason Tatum out for the year. So that team went from having all the aspirations of winning back-to-back, maybe 3 in a row, whatever the case may be. They're gone. Now it's OKC. And we see how many they can get out. So I do want to show some love to Indiana. They did play hard. They gave it a valiant effort. But, I didn't shed no tears or anything like that because they lost. I wasn't limping in the hallway trying to wait for everybody to come through. That wasn't me. I didn't have a hoodie and a jersey on and being Reggie Miller and waiting for your team to come. I didn't care about none of that.
It sounds like a New
all
York
fluffy
fan right now.
I will say this. Shea going to Indiana's locker room and dabbing up Halliburton. That is a grade A maneuver, top class, and that just shows the type of person who he is. I can honestly say I don't see a lot of other superstars doing what he did. So shout out to Shea for just being just a stand-up guy for real, man.
Well, I guess I'm the only one who's going to see it this way. I think this is probably the most overrated championship. Paper thin. Wipe your ass with it, is my opinion. The Indiana Pacers were the better basketball team.
Absolutely not.
And had
That is not, yeah.
if Halliburton had not gotten hurt, they would be hoisting that title right now.
Never know.
First of all,
it's a huge what if. Can't tell.
First of all, Indiana should not even been in this series if OKC was as great as people tried to tell me they were all year. First of all, they were the number 1 seed in the West all year, right? The Pacers were not number 1. The Pacers were not number 2. What were they? 4?
4.
Like
they were a game off from 3.
4th seed.
They were 4th intentionally. Yeah, I remember that.
They were the 4th seed, and they pushed this team that's supposed to be great without Halliburton. That was like you said, Calvin. That was a game. First of all, once Halliburton got hurt, they should have finished them in game 6. But no, they couldn't. They couldn't get it done. But I'll give them. They won the title. Congratulations. But you saw the headlines. What everybody was talking about after that game. It's a damn shame what happened at Halliburton. Nobody talking about OKC winning the title.
No one will remember that injury.
Everybody will.
No, they should.
Everybody will.
No,
It's like
they can't remember that injury.
We remember when KD got hurt And
Yeah,
that's how
that's starting to fade. That's starting to fade. It's just all Toronto winning that now.
nobody remember Kawhi was even playing in Toronto when he won.
They were already
title.
down 2-1 when he came back. So
No matter. Nobody remembers that Kawhi even was in Toronto no more. They just remember.
do we remember 2015?
Why didn't Golden State win that
or is
title?
it the Golden State won?
What you mean?
Do we remember 2015 or did Golden State win?
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Okay, so Golden State won then. So we don't remember those injuries.
Who got injured?
Kyrie and Kevin Love didn't play in 2015.
Nobody cares about that as long as LeBron
Exactly.
on the court.
Exactly.
No,
You're literally
LeBron
proving that
is
point
the
right
leader
now.
of that team. Halliburton is the leader of
point.
his team. Had we say when Kobe got hurt or some great player, yeah, we gonna remember that they weren't there. No, that's two different things. We remember when KD got hurt. We remember that. Like that's a big pivotal point.
In 5 years, you will not.
When Shaja Pachulia stepped on Kawhi's foot and Spurs went down, I still remember it. The play, everything that
You're a
happened.
Spurs
You're a
fan.
Spurs fan.
Hey, most people remember that. That was when Russ got hurt by that bum that threw, what's his name?
That was a first round series.
Don't matter.
Yeah, what are
We
talking
remember
about?
when stars get hurt in pivotal moments. We remember it. That's just how the human psyche works. Anyway, this was a sham. This team went 7 games to the Thunder after an injury to one of the best players on the team. We saw it. You know what I mean? They shouldn't have went 7 with Denver, but they did. They went 7 with Indiana. Hey, you won. Congrats. Nobody's going to if they don't repeat, this team will just be another in the long line of, they beat the Pacers. Congratulations. But if the Pacers would have won this title, this would have gone down as one of the greatest miraculous playoff runs in NBA history.
Let me ask you a question.
Phenomenal, man.
Over under. Let's put it at 250. How much did the Indiana win for you? Because you sound like a clear Indiana fan right now.
I'm gonna just tell you, when I'm watching basketball,
you are Indiana fan.
When I'm watching basketball and I see a team working like they on a string, and everybody's one heartbeat, everybody playing hard.
That goddamn Achilles.
Hey, that's what happened. And when that man went down and was pounding that floor, and I don't care if you wasn't a fan of the Pacers, I don't care if you was not watching the game. This was heard around the world. Everybody was talking about, damn, that was a shame what happened to Halliburton. And then it sucked the life out of that Pacers team. They fought a little bit. It fought as hard as they could.
It sucked the life out of them, but they were up 1 at halftime.
Because they fought as hard as they could until they couldn't. Like, come on. Have we not seen the Pacers have miraculous comebacks at the end of that game? That game was still not that far off in the fourth quarter. They started to make a run. You telling me if Halliburton wasn't there, that the chances of them making that comeback isn't higher? So let's be real. The Thunder were good. I'm not taking nothing away from them. But to act like this is an all-time great championship team.
No one's going to remember them. That's literally taking everything away from them.
No, I'm saying that the storyline is the game. This thing wasn't no 5. You said that they was going to lose 4 straight. That's what you said. Calvin said it was going to be a sweep. No, you gave him 1 game. No, you said it was going to be a sweep. Calvin said it was going 5. So of course the whole series y'all waiting to be right. Y'all just waiting to be right. I told you.
You said they were going to win in 6.
I said it was going to be. It should have been over in 6. But the Pacers beat them in game 6.
Like you went with the other side.
I said the Thunder should win because they were the better team. I'm going to give the Pacers credit for fighting hard and overcoming the odds. That's sports. Why wouldn't I recognize a good team fighting hard?
The jovial look on your face says otherwise.
What do you mean? I'm not happy that Halliburton got hurt.
This is more than just a handshake. You're like, they should have won, and all this other stuff.
What
That's all I'm hearing right now.
I don't recall a great team struggling this much with an overwhelming underdog without like a true superstar on the other side. I don't remember it. Like, and for me to call them a great team. Now, yeah, the Warriors against LeBron and them. Okay, it's LeBron. Like, name me another great team that struggled with a team
They
that
won a
didn't have.
championship. They are great enough in this particular season. No one said they
all
are
that
all
matters.
time great. No one said that we're
We
gonna put
talking.
them
I've been hearing
up with
nobody. We talking about
everybody
they're
else
gonna be a dynasty. Shay's a superstar. Y'all put him in
because they
superstar.
can win based
They
off their
can have
team
multiple.
formation. They can win a couple more.
It
Yes, that's
starts
a
with
true
one.
statement.
It starts with one and build upon that.
I wasn't impressed, but congratulations. You did your job. You got the win. But now Halliburton is down. Looks like he's going to miss a year. That takes the Pacers out of contention. We well documented about the Achilles injuries. Like I say, when he went down, it sucked. I mean, you could see the players. Obi Toppin even said, he said, maybe I lost a little bit of that edge. What he brings to the team, his energy, his
That sound like
leadership,
an
his
excuse.
ball handling.
You need a.
We know it.
You
You
should
can
want to
see
win
it.
more.
You
That's
can
an
see it.
excuse.
I mean, look, they did the best they could. The little backup point guard, what's his name, McConnell, TJ McConnell. He played well, best he could. He did the best he could, but he's not the ball handler that a Tyrese Halliburton is. He's not. Like
I'll
that's just
play Halliburton in Game 5.
What do you mean? Okay, that was Game 5. We're talking about Game 7. We're talking about winning time, championship time, and I'll give the Thunder credit. They took advantage of an undermanned Pacers team, and you won at home. Congratulations. But let's move this thing forward. I think this Achilles is going to make a big impact on what we see moving forward next year, because now the Celtics, as we're going to talk about, are dismantling their whole team. The Pacers are going to be out without Halliburton, even though I still think they have a pretty good roster overall that can compete. They're not just going to fall off a cliff. We don't know what Dame is going to be. How long is Giannis even going to be in Milwaukee? So the question is, what will the East even look like next year moving forth? Let's talk about it. Right now, the odds are sitting at the Cavaliers are sitting at plus 800 to win the title next year. You got the Knicks plus 900. So those are right there. Now you got Orlando, the team that Calvin has been behind, saying that they plus 1,200. They right there, the 5 best odds to win the championship. This is a compilation of all the sports put together. This is where we're at. The Celtics are still in contention. I think that's bull. And that was probably
definitely done
before the trades were made.
Everybody.
Because a lot of people were saying Jaylen Brown's going to make that next step to show that he's a superstar. Well, he ain't carried them that far. I'm sorry. So I'll start with you, Calvin. What does the East look like now with a Halliburton gone, with a Tatum gone? We don't know what Milwaukee's going to be.
It's a 3-team race, in my opinion. I think this most likely keeps Giannis in Milwaukee because they feel as though, why not us? If we tweak a couple things, maybe we can make a run to the finals. But I think it's a 3-team race, and I'm looking at Cleveland and Orlando first and second, personally. The Knicks, they fumbled this head coaching hire so bad so far, in my opinion. Y'all, everybody that y'all went, and we know for a fact Jason Kidd wants to be there. He just can't get out of his contract. But I don't understand. I mean, maybe if you know what was going to happen, maybe you keep Thibodeau. But to fumble and be on your 5th, 6th, 7th option when you're a team with championship aspirations, you're a team.
This is speculation.
And you're a team. Let me finish my soliloquy, and you can go back here and defend your Knicks all you want to. And you're a team that has a chance to improve your roster and decides, you know what? We don't want Kevin Durant. We don't want to get better. Did you see what they just paid for Kevin Durant? You could have offered them anything that you didn't want. You could have said, we give you Bridges straight up. They probably would have done that deal. And you still did not want Kevin Durant. That could have added to your title hopes, regardless of who your coach was. And just in the East, if Cleveland does not make a move, they were the number 1 team in the East. They won 60-plus games. They're only they can get better. They have no competition in the East outside of those 2 teams. This should be a runaway for those 3 teams being 1, 2, and 3. The goal should be to get to 1, so you don't have to be one of those teams. I'm liking Orlando. I think Paolo's going to take that next step next year. I think he's going to take a step into potentially being the best player in the East next year. I'm not going to say what happens in the year after that, but he's going to take a huge step. I really like Orlando and I like Cleveland. I think those are going to be the top 2 teams in the East. Now, those will be my odds-on favorite to be in the conference finals next year.
Justin?
Honor, that was a hearsay at best. So when it comes to this particular teams that's out here right now,
Y'all worry about Detroit
for the Eastern Conference. Yes, Cleveland is they should be right there. They are a great regular season team. The New York Knicks, clearly they should be right there. Orlando Magic, based on the moves they're making, I think the latest move was for them. That was a good move by getting Bang. He's a high quality role player. They might have gave up a little bit too much, but they needed someone with his skill set, with his consistency. That's what they needed. So they belong up there. Boston, clearly, you just said that. This is before that. I would honestly think, yes, Detroit should be up there. Detroit should be over Indiana. And Philadelphia, I'm not going to 100% write off Philadelphia. Maxey is not going to have an injury-prone season like that. He wasn't injured no other time in his career like that up until this particular last season. So I think Maxey's going to be back. If they can get Joel Embiid for 60 games and let him be injured off and on and not one main injury, they'll be right back. And Joel Embiid is an MVP. Like, we're not going to take that away from him. So, and he had this whole entire offseason to get himself in gaming shape to finish
whole season.
Yes, correct. The whole season. He spent half the season rehabbing, and the other half should be getting back into shape. So, they'll be back. So it's not as easy as people are making out for, especially coming from the Knicks side of things.
Watch out for Atlanta. Watch out for
all this and all this. No, I don't buy into that. I don't even want New York thinking that they don't have to. They can wait to make moves or nothing like that. Don't let these other teams gain ground like in Atlanta. We see that y'all picked up KP and stuff like that. That's pretty good. Like, their other teams are making moves. They're taking apart what Boston had. We're gonna see where Drew Holiday ends up. If he ends up on a high quality team, you gotta look twice at that. So it's stuff like that you still gotta be prepared for. But yes, so far I would love to say New York's gonna be number one overall, but that goddamn Cleveland Cavaliers is a great squad, man.
Yeah, we'll see. Big news this past week. We haven't talked about it here yet, but the Phoenix Suns traded Kevin Durant to the Houston Rockets. In return, they were able to get Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, the number 10 pick in this year's draft. Who did they take number 10 tonight? Calvin Q, look into that while I'm going over this. And 5 second-round picks in this year's draft as well, which to me is a huge package. You get back Jalen Green, who is a young player that a lot of people think, he didn't show up in the playoffs, but he showed some promise in the regular season, helping the league, that Houston team. And then, Dylan Brooks is a lot of the grit that they have on defense there. He was the toughness for that Rockets team. So was this a lot? You're getting KD in return. Who are you pairing him with? How's that team going to look without Dylan Brooks, without a Jalen Green? Would this team be able to still have that same firepower? I'll start with you, Justin. Your thoughts on this trade, KD going to Houston?
So this is probably one of the main things we talked about at the shop. Is it the right thing to do? If I'm Houston, yes. You entered into a win now culture. You entered into a let's get it done right this second, and that's why you bring over KD. KD is a vast improvement over a young Jalen Green. It sucks because I was trying to defend the young boy. Me and Calvin was going back and forth on the young bull, but yeah. If I got a C student and somebody bringing me an A student, I'm gonna go with the A student. Like, KD is still that dude. Like,
but KD is not a superstar. Why would you trade for someone who's not a superstar and give up?
Because the person that you traded for is not a superstar. No, he was trying to be a little bit facetious and throwing that superstar joint, but that's not my fault. That failed. That flopped. But
it didn't flop. Jalen Green is the guy you were saying was a young promising star who's supposed to be taking his next step and all this stuff. All he needs is
Right.
a little time.
So
and you just give up on him.
you don't wait for that, and you bring in a bona fide star.
Oh,
you don't wait for someone to become a star. You bring in a bona fide star, and that's what they did.
Okay.
They didn't bring in a superstar. They brought in a bona fide, multi-level, multi-layered all-star.
Okay.
So with that being said, it's good for them. Him, Van Fleet, they got championship experience. They got young talent. You got Jabari on the team probably play the 4. You got Sengun, which is probably going to take another step into his all-star career. It's just a good move. Now, why didn't they wait? That's the thing. That's the question. That's what for you try to throw me that curveball. The fact of the matter is, I think they're looking at his. I don't think it was his playoff performance. I really don't think it was that. I think they're looking at his off the court actions, and I'm not talking about his wife. I mean his lady, his baby mother. I'm not talking about her. I'm not throwing shots at her, but what they're saying is she could be
off limits, man.
She could be, because she's in that light. She's in that world, right? I'm not saying. What I'm saying is they're looking at him and saying we could lose you like New Orleans lost Zion. We could lose you like Memphis lost Ja. Like you are a young talent that can go left real quick, and we got to deal with that. And we have a team for winning now, and they probably didn't want to deal with it. So they said, "Yo, you're messy off the court. We don't want that." Now he probably showed.
So let me not cut you off. Your head coach is Ime Udoka.
Can't have too much.
Come on, man. You can't be a hypocrite.
You can't have too many situations, man. That's what I'm saying. I think that's why. Because or else you let him season one more year.
No.
Go ahead.
Now it goes to the hatred of Jalen Green. It's
no hatred of Jalen Green. We've seen what he is. He can't be the best player on a team that contends for a championship in the playoffs. We saw that last year. It was his
first playoff experience.
We saw that last year, but they lost despite him because he didn't show up. It was almost as though he was. I don't want to say he was scared of the moment, but he wasn't prepared for the moment as I would like him to be. You can play bad in the playoff series, but just wasn't prepared for the moment. If you have an opportunity to get KD and it's just for Jalen Green,
let me ask you a question.
And Dylan Brooks.
Why do you think he wasn't prepared? Where was his focus?
You want to say his focus was on his baby mother?
I don't know. If you're saying he wasn't prepared and he was showing signs that he was not prepared, then what were you preparing for? What were you doing?
I don't know. Because when you're the favorite in the playoff series and you lay an egg like that, that says a lot, in my opinion. And as to where you have other young talent around you that we believe can be better. We have a Jabari Smith. We have I can't think of the other guy's name that just got drafted last year. Who?
Oh, no, I thought you was talking about Sengun.
No. But they have other talent around him. I think, look, this is what KD wanted. He wanted to go to Houston, and they didn't give up anything. And for the record, they drafted I can't pronounce his last name, the guy from Duke, the center. And then he was traded to, I'm assuming he was traded to Charlotte, because Phoenix now has Mark Williams, the center from Charlotte that the Lakers rejected the trade.
Well, that literally just happened.
Yeah, so I'm assuming that was the trade, but it looks like there's some other pieces involved. But when you have a chance to get KD and you're at Houston and you have these young pieces and you really only you didn't give up a lot, and you still have a Cam Whitmore who didn't play a lot last year. You still have a ton of young pieces that could play around KD, and they really had trouble scoring late. They had trouble getting baskets late, and now you have an automatic bucket that can get baskets and that can facilitate for Sengun, for Van Fleet, for Jabari Smith, I was thinking about Amen Thompson. That's what I was thinking about earlier. And for Amen Thompson, you have the defensive skills of Thompson, Jabari Smith as well. Has the potential to be a very, very good team. You satisfy KD, he gets a 2-year extension, and he just turned down, or he turned down deal after deal from Miami to Minnesota. So he really kind of dictated where he wanted to go. You have a premier coach in Ime Udoka. You have a young team. I think this is a great trade for Houston. Now, for Phoenix perspective, what do you do with Jalen Green? Because I don't think we've seen a Bradley Beal, Devin Booker backcourt, and now you add Jalen Green to the mix. So I don't understand why Phoenix made this deal. They wanted to draft pick tonight, so they had control of that. But how do you flip Jalen Green? If the object is to keep Devin Booker and the object is to compete, how do you build a team around Devin Booker? Because only going to be so many more times he's going to just go with this team and not make it to the playoffs or not make it past the play-in. He's made it to the NBA Finals. He wants to get back there. He just played on Team USA last year. Are we talking about Devin Booker trade rumors now? I don't understand what Phoenix is doing.
Phoenix doesn't understand what they're doing.
I think it was a good move on Houston's part to go get the guy that I still think can play at a high level. He's played at a high level. I think he's like 50, 40, 30. What is he?
50, 40, 91, 2 years
90,
ago?
something like that. No, last year. Like,
I didn't think he had it last year.
Yeah, I think it was like they said like the last 2-3 years, like he's still great. Like he's still great. So anyway, good move for the Rockets. We'll see what Phoenix is trying to do. Another move that was made, Drew Holiday traded from the Boston Celtics to the Portland Trail Blazers for Anthony Simons and 2 second-round picks. I'm a big Drew Holiday fan. Still think he should have never left Milwaukee if they handled their business. He'd still be there.
His choice.
And that I'm not talking about. I said if they would have handled their business. Open ears, damn it. If they would have handled their business,
sound nice.
He'd still be there. And that team was probably still been in contention the last 2 years. But I thought he was always the key to their defensive intensity. Him and Giannis being able to play together. Middleton should still be in Milwaukee. Anyway, now he gets shipped out to Portland, purgatory, and we'll see what goes there. I don't know what Simons means. Is that a cap casualty? I don't know. Justin, your thoughts on the move?
It was kind of funny. I ain't gonna lie to you. When I seen it, I said, didn't he go to Portland at first, and then he got traded to Boston, and then they sent him back? So that is funny. That I don't know what Drew did to deserve that, but hopefully he's a buyout situation. But maybe not. Maybe they might just keep him there to tell him work with these young boys over here. Shout out to Chauncey Billups. But it's the Simons thing. I'm looking at it twice. I'm looking at it 3 times. It's like, all right, so you replace basically Tatum with Simons, so he can score. I'm not gonna say the boy can't score. He can score. And you got Jaylen Brown being the leader of that team. You got to look at Boston like, okay, are y'all throwing it in, or y'all still trying to compete? You can't do the middle thing. You can't either go all in and try to win, or you don't, and you just say like, yo, we're gonna ride this off. Hopefully we can get something out of this particular waste of a season. So I'm looking twice at it because he was groomed. He was that was Damian Boyd. That was his rook. And he didn't do bad by himself. It was just Portland is just a desolate place right now. No one cares about Portland Trail Blazers. So, we'll see what he do. So, it's one of those things where I'm looking twice. All right, if they winning a lot of games next year, like, okay, he was the reason why. And I feel sorry for Drew, but, he got a couple championship rings. He all right. He be all right.
Man, and he's still getting paid.
Still getting paid 30 plus. He all right.
Yeah. Look, I like the Simons move. Average 20, I think like 47% shoot, 90% from the free throw line, and he was number one option. So he'll get better looks with Jaylen Brown, with Derek White on the court. So he'll I think his production will go up. And then when you add Tatum back in a couple years, now you have a added young piece. You could probably get him a little bit better defensively, and you can take some of the burden off of Jason Tatum, at least on the offensive end, as he comes back. So I like the move. I understand they had to get under the salary cap, or had to reduce their tax figure. So I like to move from Boston's perspective. Portland gets Drew back, and they could probably flip him again. I don't know how the contract's going to play. He's going to make it harder to flip, but he's a great guard. He's a championship level guard. So he has worth out here in the league. It's just a matter of finding a fit for him and getting the assets back. But from a Boston perspective, the young guy, I like it. I really like this move for them. And like I said, they get younger. They get a little bit of funds off the books. And they get another score. So,
speaking of Boston, Atlanta, and Brooklyn had a 3-team trade sending Porzingis to the Atlanta Hawks. Terrence Mann and Atlanta's number 22 pick to the Nets. And George Niang and a second rounder to the Celtics. So basically, this is another move by the Celtics to clear some new contracts. We know about their tax situation. Porzingis hasn't really been a huge production type of player. The last season, he's probably missed way more games than he's played. So I don't know how big of a loss this is at this point. The guy showed so much promise a couple of years ago, but it is what it is. I think losing Holiday is probably of more impact than losing Porzingis at this point for what you've been getting out of him. Calvin, your thoughts on this?
Can we just verify that Porzingis is healthy after whatever health scare he had, and that he's past that? Because I mean, he couldn't play. He was out of breath frequently. Just said he was having different kind of health situations. Can we just verify he's healthy before we even talk about anything else? Because any production from Porzingis should be added plus to Atlanta. But if he's not there, and I don't want to speculate what was wrong with him or what can things be wrong with him, but if he's just there and he's not able to produce or not even able to play, then this move just sets Atlanta back. But it has the potential to be a great move. But if Porzingis is not healthy, then it's just them swinging and missing yet again. From a Boston perspective, we kind of talked about it again. They're just trying to reduce their tax bill, and this is another step. But they really lost a great talent if he is healthy. You just don't know what's going on with Porzingis.
Justin?
Porzingis. If you look at his games played versus games did not play.
You're speaking as a Knicks fans right now.
No, I'm not. I wish you all the best, but that eventually runs out because, people get on Joel Embiid so much for missing games and things like that, and deservedly so. He escapes a lot, and it's like I get one's definitely better than the other. I get that. Maybe that's why, or it could be the other reason, which is clear. It's a problem,
literally,
and and he escapes it, and he shouldn't. Like he's getting paid a lot of money. He's getting he has expectations wherever he goes, and he could barely play. And now he's injured so much that he has an unknown injury that just took him out the playoffs that we just glossed over. Like, okay, well, hopefully he comes back. No, what's wrong with him? Like somebody has to know what's wrong with him, and they're not necessarily saying anything. So I don't know whether it's something serious. It got to be serious if you're not playing basketball. But like other serious, terminal illness type things. Like I'm not wishing that enough. I'm just saying I feel like it's something that's serious because why is he even going to pass the physical to what Calvin was saying? I don't think he's going to pass their little physical test that they give. So I don't know if this is actually going to happen. We'll see. But yeah, it's just I think Kristoff he escapes a lot of things that we should point him out a little bit more than what we do. So, if it happens, then it happens. He won't be there for them when they need it. So there you go.
I mean, that's a great way to put it. He won't be there when they need him. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. We've been talking about that for a while. I mean, yeah, he's just never really healthy. It is what it is. Next up,
got even worse.
Another move that was made. The New Orleans Pelicans traded C.J. McCollum and Kelly Olynyk and a future second-round pick to the Washington Wizards for Jordan Poole, which is interesting. Saddiq Bey and number 40 pick. Interesting because Olynyk is more of a role-type player, but C.J. at one point was part of one of the best 1-2 punches in NBA with Dame Lillard. We know what happened to that once they parted their ways. New Orleans is kind of like purgatory. They had pieces that you thought they might, if they could ever get on track, might be not bad. Jordan Poole, the player that was traded from Golden State a couple years ago after his run-in with Draymond Green. They chose to keep Green over him, sent him to Washington. He ran into something. And now he's been shipped down to purgatory. So it'd be very interesting. We just heard Derek Queen getting picked up by New Orleans to go down there. He'll play with Jordan Poole if the team stays intact. They have Zion. If he ever can stay healthy, speaking of Porzingis and Joel Embiid and health and all that kind of stuff. So this Pelicans team, it's kind of interesting. Could be something. You're a Wizards fan, Calvin. What did you see out of Jordan Poole last year? Anything to be like, oh, the Warriors is in for a treat?
Nothing. He was a scorer. He was trying to see if he can be the best scorer on the bad team, but that team wasn't about winning last year. It was about making a trade that they acquired an asset. Now they flipped that asset for CJ McCollum, and they have $100 million in cap room going into next year. In regards to the Pelicans, in regards to what they received in CJ McCollum, I've hated him ever since he allowed this BS collective bargaining agreement to be passed in 2023. Come to purgatory in DC, then. That's all I got for him.
Justin, your thoughts on the move?
It was so grim, bro. When it comes to this particular situation, I was like, okay. I was like, I was going to give it a shot, and then I looked in the draft, and they picked up Jeremiah Fierce. This is the New Orleans now, and if you don't know how he played, you know a strong NBA comp for him is Jordan Poole. So why would you bring the dude over and then get a rookie that you hope to be like maybe the Golden State version of him before we find out who he really is? Like, and then you got DeJounte Murray still there. Like, what's going on with this? You're not going to run a 3-guard offense when everybody's under like 6'5", 6'4", when Zion is only 6'6" his damn self. Like, you're not going to undersize the whole entire. Like, what's going on?
And Derek Quinn is undersized.
Yeah, look,
best offense is Point Zion. So.
He's about to go into a shit show. I'm talking about Queen, that is, and it's sad. It's really sad. You look at this team and like, yo, if you play on the game, if you play 2K with them, they about to be bad. But if you play in real life, which we about to see, we're gonna see how bad they are. And I don't have this team. They probably don't even go to the playoffs, man.
Pretty sad.
Play in. They ain't making no playoffs.
Just a note, Kyrie did sign his 3-year 119 extension, and that's coming off the Achilles. So people are saying that's a good sign for players still getting paid after those injuries.
ACL,
whatever. So interesting. What's your thoughts on that? Same damn thing, in my opinion. You're going to be out a year, right? Injuries. Calvin, was that a good move?
This man said my knee and my Achilles is the same thing.
Same thing.
Yeah, it was, for Dallas now with #1 draft pick, that this is a great move for them. They had to keep Kyrie. One thing I don't understand though is, this is no knock against Kyrie, how you re-sign Kyrie who's injury prone, but you trade Luka who's less injury prone and younger. And then you also wanted Luka to play on a calf injury, in which we've seen what happens when you play on calf injuries and the potential to tear your Achilles. So I don't understand what Dallas is doing. They're trying to build a winner, but you trade your best superstar. What are you talking about?
They traded Luka because he was fat.
He's not fat no more.
Well, he was fat then.
Should have waited 6 months.
Justin.
This was a great move. Kyrie came out and said that, the team believed in him. So this is him believing in the team in a sense, right? So you extend that without trying to get max money, which he could have went that route. It would have been a ballsy route, but, Kyrie's still a high commodity. He sees what this team is developing and how it's looking. And he can come back at All-Star break. Like, that's not necessarily too soon for him if everything is going smooth. So you come back from at the All-Star break, and if the team is hovering around and playing, that's enough. He can come in and make a difference. So it's a great move. If I would feel happy. You still feel kind of pissed off. I'm not gonna knock any Dallas fan for not being pissed off. You're gonna be pissed off because you don't have Luka. But hey, at the end, you got to rip the Band-Aid off. We got to move forward. We got to move to the future. We got to see what's going on out here. And him doing that, solidifying that, at least the backcourt of that team. And now you have the Cooper flag, and we got to see how he do. But he's going to a defensive-minded team, which is great because he loves to play defense. Dallas is looking up, and it's just sad that they had to look up in the wake of Luka Doncic.
Well, here's my question, and I'm going to pose it because I don't think this has been discussed a lot in conversations I've been in. For this trade to have happened with Luka, did Kyrie sign off on it?
I don't think you know about it.
I don't think he knows.
Do we truly believe that he's not of a star status enough to be asked?
I mean,
What you trying to say? Get him out of here. So I could be the leader of this backcourt. I could be the leader of the team.
I'm just asking, like,
don't do that. Don't get Kyrie.
I'm not accusing Kyrie of that.
Kyrie. I'm not doing not this version.
I'm not accusing Kyrie of that.
Kyrie is not like Kyrie has not had issues with stars in the past or had a hand in decisions being made. Like let's keep it a buck. Like Kyrie was in Boston. Kyrie was in Cleveland. Kyrie was in Brooklyn.
You're a different dude, man.
You can say that all you want.
What moves are you talking about?
So Kyrie didn't make it clear that he didn't want to play with LeBron. Like that was not something that was a thing.
That was after he found out he was on the trade block.
Hold. I just asked a simple question.
So you're
Kyrie
saying
didn't make it clear.
You're saying
he
went to Nico and said it's me or Luka?
I didn't
that's
say
what you're
that.
Saying?
But for me,
that's what you're insinuating?
I'm insinuating it, but I'm gonna say it flat out. My question is, if I'm on a team where the management has made a decision to get rid of the running mate who I went there to play with because I thought this guy has a chance to be generational.
He got traded there. He didn't really have a choice.
Well, here's the choice in the matter. He just signed in his extension, 3 years, 119 million.
I'll re-sign with you guys. Easy. Give y'all a discount a little bit. That's what you said.
And I ain't go get me AD. Like it's not like they didn't bring him nothing back in return that he could play with better and be the main ball handler and not have to share. Oh, your turn now, Luka. You the boss. We know Kyrie don't like not being in the sunlight. Y'all can stop with this bullcrap. He did it with KD and it didn't work out for him. He begrudgingly did it with KD. If that was his boy. Do you think him and Luka was best friends in Dallas?
That was his hermano. That means brother.
Let's keep it a buck. The man was with LeBron James and didn't want to be in his shadow.
Like 23 with LeBron James.
He didn't want to be in. Stretch.
I'm asking a question. You can answer yes or no.
I said no a while ago. I said no a while ago.
I'm not putting on him. No, I can't do it.
To just act like this guy's innocent and doesn't have a checkered past would be, I think, a little naive on our part. Like he didn't
pass. What is a checkered pass? Because he wanted to
get traded. The man didn't like sharing the spotlight in Boston either. Let's go back to Tatum and Brown and some of the comments.
They didn't listen to him, so he had a problem with them not listening.
So did Luka not listen?
Let's not have a problem with sharing.
What were the reasons that were never spoken about on why they had to get rid of Luka? He was just out of shape.
It was the out of shape. It was the injury. We wanted him. Nico wanted to come back from his injury soon, which was
about to have to pay him a
$300+ million.
Huge amount.
All that player.
We could pay Kyrie 3 years, 119 million, and he'll take this. Kyrie, we got you, baby. Just stick with us because we need
looking at it from your perspective. Looking at it from your perspective, who is more box office right now, Kyrie or Luka? So
Luka,
why would you?
100%.
So why would you trade? Why would you trade your box office superstar that's going to bring in and generate revenue if you agree?
Calvin, that's the question everybody's asking. Why would you trade Luka? Like that's we all.
And your reason is because Kyrie said so.
I didn't say because Kyrie asked. I asked you, did Kyrie know? And I asked you if Kyrie felt like this was an organization that couldn't be trusted. Why are you signing a 3-year, 119 million? You don't think Kyrie felt like it's other places in the NBA that I could win?
No, not with cap.
Or he see that the grass is green. And Cooper Flag is coming to town. I got AD. I'm good to go.
What you're missing from this aspect is he had the option. He had a player option. He forgoes his player option and re-signed. So it made better sense for him monetarily to stay instead of playing. Yes. So that plays a part of it as well.
The point is,
and he already has a ring. So he already has a ring.
If this organization is doing petty things
I'm
and
not feeling
getting rid of
this.
Luka
This is
the way they
ridiculous that you're
did.
going back and forth with this dude that
I
put this
really
charge
think this
and put this charge on
Kyrie.
Kyrie. And all he did
There's
was
no
being a
charge.
stand
I'm
up guy
asking you a question.
for the last like 3
Stand
years.
up guy?
4 years. Caesar Lee's been a stand up model employee out here, man. What you
This
saying?
man has a checkered past at best.
Jesus.
I'm still trying to figure out how it's checkers because he wanted to trade from Cleveland.
No,
Because he ain't
the
want to
man,
get vaxxed. What we
he
talking
don't
about?
want to
What
play.
we
He
doing?
don't want to play with someone he had to share the spotlight with, which to me tells you him and Cooper Flag. That's gonna be a very interesting dynamic. Very interesting. He didn't like playing with Boston. The whole KD experiment did not work out because of Kyrie. Many have said that. The whole you with Luka, and all of a sudden Luka gets shipped out. That something don't add up to me. I'm sorry, man, but whatever. You know, we can look the other way because we like Kyrie as a person. I'm not dumb. Anyway, NBA draft was tonight. Speaking of Cooper Flag, so he will be joining Kyrie Irving in Dallas. He was the number 1 overall pick tonight. Let's go through some of these picks. San Antonio Spurs were able to draft Dylan Harper at number 2. Young, good point guard. You know,
Is
right
that
now,
Ron Harper's son?
I don't know if he's Ron Harper's son.
No,
Yeah. I think it is maybe his younger brother or something like that. I don't think it's his son. Yeah. Anyway, maybe he is his son. Come think of it. Because I was thinking of Derek Harper. Ron Harper.
Yeah, Ron Harper, not Derek Harper.
Yeah, that is the son.
Yeah, that's okay. Makes sense.
Okay.
And Ron was a good ball handler. Anyway, yeah, so he'll be going there. We know last year you had CP3 running the point. It'd be interesting to see if they keep CP3 another year.
I think he's going to Dallas.
Is he free?
Yeah,
Like
free
completely
agent.
free agent?
Yeah.
Okay. But anyway, I think if you take a guy number 2, most likely you'll put him in there, let him run the point right off the top. He's pretty big, nice, good, tall. He has good ball handling skills. Don't pause me. I cleaned it up. Good from the 3. So I'm excited. We'll see if Wemby and what his status is, and that will really determine the direction of this team. But I want to see if the Spurs are going to make another move because the Giannis stuff is still out there. I keep hearing it over and over and over. I'm tapped into the San Antonio market and
So
some
you
of
would
that
give him up,
insiders.
to be honest?
See ya. See ya.
Okay.
Bye. Be good. Be safe. Don't look back. No, I probably give up the young boy from last year, rookie of the year.
Castle.
I think he can go. He can go. And you probably had to give up way more collateral with that. But yeah, I think you move heaven and earth to get Giannis. Be honest. Only person is off limits to me is Wemby. Everybody else can go, in my opinion. But
So he's a point guard, right?
Yeah. Get point guard.
You trading why am I blank? Who y'all just trade for from Sacramento?
Fox.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You trading
Fox.
Fox? You trading Fox?
Yeah, if I can get Giannis.
No. I'm talking about right now. You trading Fox because you got the point guard of the future.
Darren Fox can play the 2. You don't have to handle the ball. CP3 was running the point last year.
Okay, you didn't have Harper last year.
But I'm just saying, like, CP3 was running the point. Darren Fox was at the 2.
They didn't play a lot after he got traded because then Fox get hurt. They show after.
But that was the plan for him to play the 2. Chris Paul was the number 1. Pop went down and everything went to hell. But yeah, it was like Wemby wasn't there.
I thought Pop was gone for they even traded for Fox.
Nah, Fox was there.
I thought he didn't get traded.
Of course, it was before the trade deadline. That was a while back.
They was back there together for a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, number 3, Philadelphia took a
guard
out of Baylor.
Justin.
Edgecombe.
The fact that both Steven Castle and Dylan Harper are 6'6", you can actually run a legit 3-guard offense now because you have bigger
So you
guard.
ain't playing Vassell with him.
It depends on the matchup. But all three of them can start if they want. If you really
They
wanted
don't
to,
need
I just start all three of them and just say beat me.
I let the rookie rest. I mean, not rest, learn a little bit. I still think you need a veteran out there.
He already knows the game. He grew up in it.
I mean, I get it. It's the NBA. Everybody play right away. But again, I think Darren Fox is such a ball dominant type of scorer. I would want somebody. And this is all about is Wemby. When is Wemby going to be ready?
That's true, but let's not forget De'Aaron Fox did play with Malik Monk for for a few years too, and they both went off a lot of times. Yeah. So he can share. I think all of them can share. We'll see.
All right. Number 3, the Sixers went out and got VJ Edgecombe out of Baylor. Be interesting to see because the backcourt is kind of crowded. You got Maxey already. Jared McCain is still there. Yeah. I'm very interested what they're going to do. What you think, Calvin?
They got the guy from Dallas too. I mean, I guess this. I know they were trying to trade up to get Harper. But I mean, I guess they're going to hang on to that PG contract as well. So they got youth. They still have some experience. It's still MB got to stay healthy. But you do. I mean, I think it was a reach for Edgecombe. I liked Ace Bailey. I know everybody was sour on him because he didn't want to go to certain places, didn't work out for certain teams. I think he only wanted to go to like Brooklyn. Only want to go to like Brooklyn or DC or Atlanta, something like that. So I think Philly kind of made the best of a bad situation at that point. So
they are saying we're going to be highly competitive with or without Embiid. They just picked up probably one of the best athletes in the draft, period. So you just team that up with Maxey, and Maxey's already, honestly, he might be the fastest dude in the league, period. So you got an explosive backcourt, whereas though we don't need to. This is modern. I'm not saying they're going to win championships, but this is like Showtime. We don't need to wait for our captain to come up the court. We just want to go. And then he'll catch up with us. He could be trailing 3 and we give it to him. But we're going to go full speed and then let's play basketball at that point. And when you have to, honestly, when you have to give and be as many breaks and rest and things like that throughout the game, even when he's on the court so he doesn't hurt himself, I like the move. Sometimes you just need athletes, man.
Yeah. We'll move through some of these pretty quick. Charlotte went out and got Canuck from Duke. He was if you watched college basketball last year, he was one and done, but the man was a sharpshooter from 3.
Yeah.
That's Duke's. Again, he played with Cooper Flag, so Cooper got a lot of the shine. But for a second tier guy, I think this is good landing spot for him as well. I think a lot of people, expecting him to come in and kind of be more of a marksman type of guy. He's not all flashy and stuff like that, but he can finish at the rim. Justin, you're a Dookie. What you think about this pick for Charlotte?
He'll be gone in 4 years. He'll be somewhere else. Damn. That's not even a knock on him.
It's a knock on Charlotte.
It's not on Charlotte Hornets.
Jesus, it's just where is he going to fit in at? Like shooters want to shoot, right?
You don't think he could play the 2 next to Melo and Brandon Miller?
Yeah.
Melo. He's not Melo. Let me say that. Melo.
I can see that, but that's he's going to be more of a spot up guy. Let's just be real, like a Luke Kennard kind of guy.
I thought he handled he was a decent ball handler in college. Correct. But I mean, in regards to playing off of a superstar caliber player in college and Cooper Flag, he was a second option there, and he scored when need be. So I'll give him that. So they didn't have a lot of playmakers outside.
He's not going to have that luxury because LaMelo's going to play probably 40% of the season. Now everything else gets harder.
Yeah.
So that's my thing. It's Charlotte, man.
I
I'll be
can't
pissed off
argue against that.
Charlotte.
Interesting.
I'll be pissed off about going to Utah.
Yeah, shush.
That's
Yeah,
true.
I am. Donovan ain't there no more, so it is what's. Next, let's keep this moving because we all getting late in the night. The Utah Jazz did select Ace Bailey, which is probably one of the most controversial picks. We know about all the stories leading up to the draft. He canceled his private workout. Philly was looking at him pretty hard.
He didn't want to go to Philly.
He didn't want to go, so he kind of tanked it.
He only wanted to go to, I think it was Washington.
It was Washington. He really wanted to go to Washington.
It was Washington, Brooklyn, and I thought it was somewhere else. I thought it was 3 of them, but y'all think he's getting traded?
Well, don't worry. He went to Utah now. So
there's a rumor that Utah is trying to trade for Jaylen Brown. There's a rumor out there.
Jaylen don't want to play. He already in Boston. He don't want to go to the. He don't want to go to Utah.
There's already that rumor out there.
I wonder if he got a no trade in his deal.
No,
there's only 2 of them.
It's
interesting.
LeBron and Bradley Beal.
Yeah.
Bradley Beal. That's hilarious. But yeah, so Ace Bailey, very polarizing. So congratulations for you getting picked by the Utah Jazz for all your troubles. Washington Wizards went with Trey Johnson out of Texas. Be honest with you, I don't know much about him. Anybody know anything in depth? I can look it up, but I just know I can't say if he'll change life in Washington or not. Doesn't really ring a bell. I don't remember seeing him.
I remember seeing him because he went to Texas.
I know he went to Texas, but I'm saying I watched a lot of
him.
Texas games, even in the tournament. I don't remember him jumping off the screen.
He's a shot maker, but I mean he's got a ton of veterans there.
He's
Mark
a freshman
Smart's still there. Yes.
Okay.
Mark Smart's still there.
That makes sense.
They picked up Middleton's option, so we got a ton of veterans there. So he'll learn how to play the right way.
Okay, interesting. The Pelicans went with Jeremiah Fears out of Oklahoma. I do remember seeing him.
I remember him.
Definitely.
They played Duke, right? They played Duke in the tournament.
Yeah. Pretty good. Made some big shots. Interesting. I will be interested to see how many of these players actually touch the court in their rookie year. I don't know if he'll be one of them, but again, the Pelicans have made some interesting decisions, taking another guard. We just talked about some of the other guards they have. Brooklyn Nets, Igor Denham out of BYU. I can't really say I know a lot about him, so I'll keep it moving.
I don't know about him.
And let's just round out this top 10. Colin Boyles out of South Carolina went to Toronto. Toronto is one of those teams that to me is a big question mark. I can't really speak to a lot of what they had ever since they traded Pascal Siakam to Indiana. I don't really know what they're in contention for. Any thoughts on Raptors while we're on it, Justin?
No,
I can't think about it exactly. I'm like, who do they have? I'm like,
they're trying to make a move.
They got Scotty Barnes and Brandon.
They got Scotty. They got the kid who's playing San Antonio, Jake. Can't think of his name.
Mm-hmm.
They in flux. They don't know what they're doing here. They wanted to make some moves. They can't keep that team like that.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's just jump down to where it really matters. Patrick Queen. It's like Darren Queen got traded. He was originally the rights to the 13th pick was to Atlanta, got traded to the Pelicans, who came back up. Pelicans already had a pick early in the draft, and they select Derek Queen, who was a standout player at the University of Maryland. Some of us are very familiar with him here in this region. We talked briefly about where we think he can do. Remember, this was originally Sacramento's pick. I'm kind of glad he didn't get shipped all the way out to Sacramento. New Orleans is not a bad city. It's just that they have a lot of question marks, open-ended questions of what's going to happen with that roster. Derek Queen, to me, is still not a polished, finished product. I think he could have used another year at Maryland, but go get your money. Go do what you got to do. And this is the best for you right now. Do that. Justin, your thoughts on Derek going to the New Orleans Pelicans?
Stay away from the beignets, first and foremost. just like he is the probably most skilled big man in this draft, right? He literally can do it all. He just at this point, you know what you're going down there for. You gonna have to stand beside Zion, and you're gonna have to produce.
I don't like them playing together.
Good luck with that. It's I don't think they have any big veterans down there for him. So just stay on yours, man. Get in better shape. You're going to need to get in better shape. It's just you're going to trim off a little bit, and just stay away from what Zion brings, man. This is what I was kind of alluding to. I'm not saying they're the same person. Earlier with Jalen, like this dude Zion, don't hang out with this dude, man. He just brings a lot of trouble around him.
Like them girls, boy.
I don't want none of that to rub off on the young bull, on the young.
Stay away from Mariah Mills, Dark.
Them older girls.
Stay away.
It's just not a good look, man. So there you go. I wish you all the best,
Calvin.
Yeah, I echo those statements. I'm not sure, like I said, I'm not sure how him and Zion fit together because you're going to have him playing at center and he'll, kind of be undersized. But offensively, I think, he should be able to flourish.
He's skilled, though. He's not a power guy. You know what I mean? He's not out there just dunk. He's going to be laying the ball up, back to the basket, a little jump hook.
And the other thing I don't like is now without CJ, as much as I hate him, you don't have a guard that can kind of get you the ball in a position to score. You got Jordan Poole's looking for his shot. The other kid that they drafted, who you said it's like another Jordan, who just like it's like another Jordan Poole looking for his shots. They don't have somebody that can get him the ball in a position to score. So you get the ball out of position, then you kind of force some shots, and then all of a sudden your shoot percentage takes a dive. So I hope, I don't know. I don't like the fit.
We'll see. Let's move on to the world of professional wrestling. This Saturday, WWE United Champions will take place in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. This has been a big point of contention over the last several days. As you know, over there in Iran, there has been some conflict going on with Israel, Iran, the United States. Bombs have been dropping. Yeah. Almost like Trump called it a 12-day war. And again, while Iran is not Saudi Arabia, they ain't that far. Like if you look at the map, they are separated by a body of water and a strip of land. And they're not far. Again, this is Riyadh. Riyadh is not in the region closest to where Iran is, but there was some air travel restrictions where some of the crew got stopped and could not fly in. They had to detour into Qatar, couldn't make it to Saudi Arabia, but apparently ever since things settled down, the people have traveled. I know they were traveling today. Hopefully everybody's safe. But if you wanted to make a message or send a message to the United States and you got an event from the United States happening not that far away, you could strike. You know what I mean? I know that could cause some issues as well, but it's just a lot of questions. Should the WWE be sending their talent? That's always been a question about sending people over to Saudi Arabia, about doing business with Saudi Arabia to begin with. But to now, in the middle of this conflict, go over into the Middle East while this is happening, and all because you got a contract with them, they pay you a lot of money, has left a lot of people with a bad taste in their mouth. Justin, I'll start with you. Let's just talk about it. What's your thoughts on the WWE still going over to Saudi Arabia, despite everything that's happening in that region of the world?
Money, 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 money. Money. That's the only reason why they going over there. If they wasn't in so much debt, they might would have went somewhere else, but they're not. They are in debt. They're gonna get that paper. And shout out to I'm gonna clap it up for AJ or Dominic. One of them dudes ain't want to go over there, so they canceled that. They canceled that match. I don't know. It's probably AJ. AJ like, man, I got a wife and kids. My career about to come to an end. I ain't going over there. So shout out to them. Yeah, man. Prayers out to those families, to those people that's going over there. It sucks, man. It sucks.
They should be there. They should be there by now, right? Because SmackDown's over there on Friday, right?
SmackDown is on a Friday.
Yep. So they're probably flying into today.
I think a lot of the crew left right after Raw, and then the wrestlers are supposed to travel out today and tomorrow.
Yeah, so I know we spoke on this when we talked comebacks. It's just it sucks, man. It sucks that they got to be put in this situation, and they need that paycheck too. I'm quite sure. Within that contract, Larry, you can correct me in this, but I'm quite sure some dates, some events get a little extra perk in that contract. It's just
it's baked in now. The old way it was, but now they did it where they just pay people more off the bat, and that's just part of the deal. You got to go.
It's like go.
It's making this stop every year
because they're making more money than they ever made before. The wrestlers.
That's correct.
So it's like
like you said, so it is what it is. So I'm just coming at it from a sympathetic point of view. It's just like if that been me or my family, I would have told them like, yo, you're going to have to find something else. But if you tell me your whole contract is based off of it, or a significant portion or a huge penalty could be handed down, then nah, you could just you gotta suck it up, man, and just pray that little body of water that they had between the two places is enough.
And apparently, and I'm not going to speak out of turn on this, but apparently they always say that if you don't want to go, that is completely a choice. But you know what that means. If you refuse, they're not going to directly punish you. They're not going to directly do anything. It's going to be like, you're not getting those matches you used to be booked for. Or if it's a Saudi Arabia show coming up, you're not going to get a big push because they can't put the threat of you being in a championship position, and then I can't book matches because you're not going to be prepared. And remember, the Royal Rumble is scheduled to be in Saudi Arabia this coming year. So are you not going to be in the Rumble because you refuse to go to Saudi Arabia? You know what I mean? It just puts you in a pickle where you feel like, well, I mean, for the betterment of my job, I got to be there. And we've heard people throughout the years who feel pressure into doing things at work. Nobody overtly says, if you don't do this, this is what happened. But guess what? The phone stopped ringing. You stop getting put up for certain opportunities if you refuse to play ball on certain things. So people just do it because they don't want to see the consequences. But nobody technically ever threatened you to say, oh, if you don't do this. So it's a mind game. And you think it would change since Vince isn't there anymore. But TKO is run by the people who run UFC. Is run by people who, like you say, they more money hungry than WWE ever was before, because, like you say, they spent so much money buying these companies, they want a return on their investment. And if Saudi Arabia going to pay them all that money, they make more money
every year.
They make more money from going to Saudi Arabia for one show than they do all the Raws for like 6 months. You know what I mean? Like, they make $10 million just for one show. Like, a $1 million gate used to be like a dream. And that for AEW, if they get a $1 million gate for one show, that is like tremendous. And that's just from paid tickets. These people pay them $10 million just for the site fee. That's ridiculous. And that's on top of whatever money they sell tickets for. So yeah, it's money talks, man. It just is what it is. I hate it. But money talks. And people say, well, you still watching and supporting it. We hypocrites. It is what it is. Calvin, your thoughts?
I wasn't sure the show was going to continue. I guess 4 or 5 days ago on the scheduled night originally. Like you said, money talks. I think that's the thing. Money talks. And if this is how you get into the black in your business, by scheduling these shows for 1 week in a year on a Friday and a Saturday, by scheduling the pay-per-view there, by giving them the matches they want to see, by pulling wrestlers out of retirement, such as to appear.
They've done it in the past. Shawn Michaels and stuff like that.
That terrible match that we saw 4 or 5 years ago with the four of them, cause it seemed like everyone got hurt in that match.
They did.
But that's what they want to see. They're trying to make up for lost time. So, or with mission shows previously. But money talks, and this is why they continue to go. And as long as the dollar amount is right, and as long as it continues to pay the bills and the check is guaranteed, they can continue to go. So,
yeah. Let's quickly go over the card. John Cena, CM Punk main event for the world title. Cena and cut a quote unquote pipe bomb last week on
Give him his
SmackDown.
props. Give him his props.
It was trash.
It was definitely a pipe bomb, bro.
It was trash. It's like, no, it played off of the original pipe bomb from years ago. He even kind of referenced some of the things Punk said originally. I just hated how Punk was forced to lay on that table for that long ass time. Like in the middle, just go hit him with the belt again or something. Like that was pathetic. Just a pathetic visual.
You could at least went up the ramp like Punk did. Like,
yeah, go fold your legs or something. I don't care. Just do something, man. You made Punk look like a sucker.
He was laying there for a long time.
And then the R-Truth match before that was trash. The punches weren't even landing. Oh man, just the whole thing just pissed me off. But anyway, yeah, it added a little bit of heat. But the crowd was actually laughing and clapping and cheering, like, yeah, you're right, Cena. But that's what they did for Punk too. So it's like, fans like bad guys more than like good guys these days. It just is what it is. Ain't just start. But it added a little bit more fuel to the fire for this match. Is there any chance that CM Punk beats John Cena? Just in your thoughts.
No.
Exactly. Calvin?
On June 28th? No.
Yes.
No. Maybe on July, maybe on August 15th or something, but no.
Yeah, but anyway, it's a big match on a Saturday at 1:00. So hey, I don't mind these early shows on Saturday when I'm chilling around the house. I ain't got nothing planned this Saturday. I'm gonna check it out live. Cody Rhodes will face Randy Orton in the finals. We talked about this last week. I was shocked. I don't know what happened. They changed the plan because I explicitly was told, like, by somebody who surely knows what they're talking about, that they were saving this match for later. But maybe, like Calvin, you alluded to it, that Prince man, he say, these are the people I know. I know who Randy Orton is. You know what I mean? I want to see him on my show. And we getting Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton. I think it's a foregone conclusion. Cody's winning this match. But the way things been going, I don't know no more. I don't know. What's your thoughts here, Calvin?
I was thinking when Randy won, it's a great chance that he's beating Cody. I'll wait until SmackDown before I would officially say, but I'm leaning towards Randy.
I think Cody's winning, but I could see a world where Cody beats him. Randy beats him. Cody loses his next match, but I don't see him challenging Cena again. We already seen it. Plus, I don't know if you beat Cody again before he wins that title back. Anyway, but Justin?
But yeah,
Cody's going to win this. And I said I saw either Jay or Sammy or Randy or Cody. And then once Randy won, I said it's going to be Cody. Yeah. And there we go. And here we are, which Cody will win. And he'll just buy his time. It's at SummerSlam. So
he's SummerSlam, yeah. Him and Cena. He's getting the title back.
He's got to get the title back. I don't think I've heard about the tag team thing. I don't buy that. I honestly think that
why not
1-on-1, huh?
Why don't you buy that?
No, as in when Cena and Logan Paul fought in the tag team match.
Oh,
that Cena had Cena got pinned by Cody.
Okay.
That's not enough. That's not enough. That's not a get back to the title.
Okay. He's taking that title.
He's going to take that title off of Cena, and then we'll see how Cena play after that. But at this point, judging from what Cena just did, he has a lot of the fans on his side. So we'll see how that dynamic goes out. So
I think they're going to turn him back babyface sooner rather than later.
And I
think Cody's going heel
sooner rather than later. You heard the comments that he had.
He just did an interview saying that,
and he made it seem like, and he said it was going to be in a couple years. I'm like, okay, so now you're doing it by the end of this year.
I think Rock is coming back.
Yeah,
remember they 2 nights SummerSlam in New York.
Yep,
I'm thinking about driving up.
It's in New York.
Yeah, it's in New York, MetLife Stadium. Yeah, Cardi B hosting.
It was in Cleveland last year. Okay.
Yeah. I'm thinking about driving up, man. Tickets go on sale. I think single nights tickets. Let me know if y'all want to ride up.
I completely agree. Rock is coming back. They're going to do this whole Cody heel thing. When he did the interview and he said it's his time as babyface is running out, It's going to be a couple more. Then he tried to spin it with a couple more years. He took, and then you heard rumors about The Rock and Triple H started talking again. It's happening.
Yeah,
it's happening.
Jade Cargill and Asuka for the finals for the Queen and Ring. Remember, the winner of this goes on to face the champion for that particular brand at SummerSlam. I think Jade has to win this match. Asuka has looked okay since she's returned. Jade was kind of sloppy the other night, but I just think it sets up her and Tiffany. I think that's a big match in their eyes. I think Jade will win that title at SummerSlam this year. Thoughts, Calvin?
I agree. I know I wasn't on the Jade bandwagon a couple weeks ago, but it's happening. I'm thinking she's ready.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Roxanne for the pinfall attempt against Jade. Yeah, Jade's gonna win this. It's definitely hers to win. And we saw this coming. They gave Asuka a couple wins on her belt to get her. But no, it's definitely Jade's. I'm sorry. I know we talking about the ready thing. I even said I was a proponent. She's definitely ready. And if she's not ready now, then when she's going to be ready? It's those goddamn promos, bro. When she talks, it's like she's reading off the teleprompter. I'm like,
can't do it.
Or she like try to memorize it like word for word instead of just kind of having points.
She need it right on the wrist.
She's got to get past that. That's the bad part about it.
But that's the crazy thing. In AEW, she wasn't scripted, and she was so much natural. She just got to do her own thing. Now they try to script her. Like I get it. They want to they think they like preparing you for being movies and stuff. You gotta learn the script there, don't you? Well, this is wrestling. Like clearly, like let people have raw emotion and go off the cuff. She sound like an idiot. Like Sasha Banks can't do it either to me, but it is what it is. Love it dearly, but you suck at reading scripts. Jacob Fatu defending that United States title versus Solo Sikoa. I think Jacob wins and retains the title here, but I would not be shocked if we see a debut of another Tongan Samoan at Night of Champions.
The one that been doing the dark matches?
Yeah, I think he's coming up. So I would not be shocked.
I think Solo wins, man.
You think he wins the title?
I think he wins the title. Yeah.
That's quick to me.
The only way that happens if you have bigger plans for Fatu, and I don't know if you do that now. I think that's post SummerSlam plans.
Yeah, I can see them building to a rematch, maybe a DQ.
Yeah, I don't think he loses. I
can see them doing a DQ, and then Solo wins Saturday main event, and then Jacob either gets it back later, maybe do a 3-match series or something, or you do take it from him here, and then Fatu gets his revenge later. That's possible. Go ahead.
I just feel like that stagnates him if you have him lose right now.
Some people are better chasers, and I think Fatu.
You think he's a better chaser?
I think he's the greatest champion. I just think you need a fresh opponent. And they've never faced those. This isn't an old match, and they just feuding. But I want to see him in the main event. I want to see him.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I said I don't think if he loses, then I think that's the push. But I don't think not that he's not ready for it. I don't think there's a storyline ready for him right now with Cody and with Cena and with Punk.
I think it's just better if he takes it, if he goes through JC, Solo, and the other dude. Like, I think it's going to be him versus all three of them with the occasional help from Jimmy. And I think that's a better sell right now.
But there's
no spot for him.
But there's no title associated. Correct. I agree with that, but there's no title associated with that. I think until at least Cena retires, you can start to push him then. But at least right now, there's no room for him to be pushed to that level. I'm not saying he's not ready.
So let him go through the.
But why have him lose then?
Because he wants to get it back. I need that back. So I'm going to try to get that back. And Solo's the one playing keep away. You can't have it back because I got these two monsters behind.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that doing that through SummerSlam. I can see that. And then I don't think he's winning the world title between now and Survivor Series. So
No.
why
I
would
don't
you
think
rush
so.
that?
I don't even think he's fighting for it. That's why I say it doesn't make sense for him to lose.
I think
right
he
now.
should have a hell of a showing in the Royal Rumble or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, completely
So
agree.
he could hold. I don't think he needs to lose the title right now either. But to keep the feud with some credibility and give Solo is lacking credibility. Let's be real. He doesn't win a lot of matches.
So he got to win.
If he wins this allows him to have something on his.
As long as he doesn't win clean, then. If he doesn't win clean,
definitely. That's what I'm saying. He got the new guy got to debut, or JC Mateo got to do something.
So
I think that's guaranteed.
Yeah. Because if you do it the other way, let's say he wins real quick. I know you just changed it. If he does win, and let's say he dog walks him, then what? You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
You gotta have something to keep the feud. Yeah. But that is a good question. They need to hurry up and do like a draft or mix these rosters up, because I think they're getting a little stale. Some of the feuds can be mixed up, or just go back to one roster, man. Everybody should be available for both shows. I'm getting sick of it. It's some matches I want to see, but they're on the other show.
I agree.
Man, let's get to it.
And it's easy to book two cities close together, so it's not like a lot of travel. So
it's stupid. And then they do have some people going show to show. You see Punk on Raw, SmackDown. You see Cody. Cena. You know what I mean? Cena, like it be top guys. They just move it around when they feel like it. Jey Uso, Rhea Ripley, and Raquel Rodriguez in a street fight. I think this is just a way to get them in a match in Saudi Arabia where they ain't got to wear clothes. They can wear regular street clothes, because they always wear them.
They got to cover them up.
Them spandex outfits, whatever. So Rhea make it fun. Let's just put it that way. Two big horsewomen. Who you got? Everybody got Rhea? All right.
Yeah.
No.
You got Raquel?
Yes. Because of Roxanne. You ain't gotta put on a red light. Roxanne comes up. Helps her.
So originally it was supposed to be AJ Styles and Dominic Mysterio on this show, but Dom apparently does have an injury. That's legit. They just didn't tell you what the injury is. We'll see if that comes out. Also, Chad Gable's injured, gonna have shoulder surgery, so that's why he hasn't been on television. It's a lot of injuries going on. We talked about Liv Morgan last week. So a lot of Kevin Owens was on Cody Rhodes' podcast talking about his neck not healing right. So he'll still be out for a while. Yeah, man, a lot of little injuries going on still. But so they replaced it with Sami Zayn, who gets over big over there in Saudi Arabia because he's from, I think, Pakistan, like his people are, or something like that. One of them countries over there. And he's taking on, oh Lord, I had a brain fart. What is this guy's name?
Karrion Kross? What are you talking about?
Karrion Kross. Yeah. Who is really over with the crowd, man. Like, his little shtick has worked. Give him credit, but now the bell got a ring. He's not that great in the ring. So, this will be interesting, but do Sammy win? I think Sammy loses. I think Sammy loses. I really do. I think, unfortunately, but I think he loses at this point. What you think, Justin?
Win or loss, Sammy goes dark after this. Not necessarily like incognito, like not being seen. He joins up with Karrion. And I would love to see that. They both can talk on the mic. I'm not too familiar with Karrion's in-ring ability. I'll say that. So I'll be interested in seeing it for I really don't really see him. I can't remember the last time I saw him wrestle. So
he used to be under a different type of style, but he can get he had like an MMA edge to him at one point, but they had him in a dumb gimmick, so it was kind of stupid.
Yeah, I seen when he was with that crew when he first started.
TikTok. Yeah.
Anyway, we'll see. It's just something different for Sammy. I'm so tired of the same old Sammy stuff, and it's just. And Karrion was right. The things he was saying, the best part of being a heel is when you be telling the truth. Like, yo, this ain't working, bro. You're not winning. Now, you still might not win, but you got to change something up, bro. This whole coming out and being a champion of the people and then doing the right. Nah, damn all that, man. Just sometimes you just gotta go bad, man. And let's see what happens. So I like it. I like the outcome. I can care less about the fight itself. I just like the outcome.
Calvin.
I was actually thinking Sammy wins just because of the predicament he was put in, but I want to see what's next for his character, kind of like Justin was saying. Win or lose, I don't think it affects his character. I think there is more in store for him. It's just going to take a little bit of time going into the Royal Rumble next year. But if I had to say, I thought Sammy would win.
Mm-hmm. We'll see. So that's the show. One more match they did announce, and they had to sit down. Saturday Night Main Event will be Goldberg's final match for the World Heavyweight title against Gunther. And that is being advertised as Goldberg's final match, and it's for the World Championship. So that'll be interesting. Saturday Night Main Event, July 12th, which is basically approaching 2 weeks away. I think there's still some questions of people having. Will they let Goldberg beat him? I don't think they will. You think Goldberg is winning? So we'll talk about that in the coming weeks. But
yes,
we are getting late into the hour, and we appreciate you all sticking out. But I know, Calvin, you wanted to bring up a story that you had referenced in our group about Lamar Jackson and all that. I'll let you bring that up because I was still kind of confused.
So they finally, there was an article that came out about the collusion in regards to Lamar Jackson's previous free agency. And he kind of talked about how he texted Eric DaCosta he wanted a fully guaranteed contract, which I don't think was a big secret. And that there was a point in prior to Lamar signing the contract in which Eric DaCosta and the Ravens thought that Lamar was gone, that he wanted to trade, but Lamar never referenced teams that he wanted to be traded to. And when they sent that final contract, and the one in which Lamar agreed to, there was some shock, some surprise on the Ravens side because they thought Lamar was gone. And they were referencing how the collusion within the NFL in regards to his contract, because there was not a team that made an offer. There were no teams that reached out to Lamar once they put that transition tag on him during the offseason. So it was talking about that. It also made reference to Kyler Murray's contract, in which he signed, I believe it was the year before in 2022. And when the owner of the Cardinals texted the owner of the Chargers and basically said, yeah, we're happy we got this contract and we didn't have to give him a guaranteed contract, and how Cleveland really screwed us with the fully guaranteed contract. So these were text messages between owners talking about how they did not want quarterbacks to receive fully guaranteed contracts. And it was on more than one occasion with Kyler Murray, with Lamar, and even with Russell Wilson, as I spoke about earlier. So it's a ton of material going back and forth. Pablo Torre had been talking about it a lot on Twitter, and that's where I saw it from and started looking at it. So I haven't read the whole report, but it's about 60, 70 pages. But it just talks about the collusion and what's going to be happening next. And it also led into a conversation that happened on Twitter last night that basically said, is Lamar not going to sign a contract extension in hopes of getting the next fully guaranteed contract, and what potential salary cap, how that could potentially affect the salary cap going forward with this number just escalating in the last couple of years of his contract. So it's really interesting from an aspect of, if you didn't believe there was collusion, if you didn't believe the owners looked out for each other, you're dead wrong. And now you know the truth.
Okay. Justin, any thoughts on that before we get out of here?
If I'm a billionaire, I'm gonna text my other billionaire friend so I can keep my billions.
Damn,
you're right.
I mean, to me, it was. That's why I was like,
you're right.
I mean, is this news? Like, I really didn't.
I think like the text messages, some of the proof that they have was what was the news, and not the fact that.
I thought the only interesting thing when Lamar said the speaker on his phone didn't work or something like that.
Yeah, when EDC was calling him. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, come on, guy.
Yeah.
Like, you gonna negotiate or not? Then he said when he had opportunity for other teams to reach out, nobody reached out to him. I'm like, yeah. They knew that the Ravens was going to match whatever. They assumed the Ravens was going to match whatever they gave anyway.
And nobody's going to fully guarantee contract.
Yeah, so what are we talking about here? Like, bottom line, Lamar, go bring home that Lombardi this year. Then we ain't got nothing to talk about. We'll give you all the money in the world. Like, I don't care at that point. Like, I just want one. I just want one. Look, man. Look, we were Ravens used to winning. We don't not win. You know what I mean? Like, it's been a while. Like, we need to win. And right now, on paper, and many people have said it, our roster is, man, line it up with anybody. I don't care, position by position, receiver, running back. I know receiver ain't as deep on paper. Tight end, offensive line ain't terrible. DBs, safeties, linebacker, like name it, we got it. Like I don't want to hear the excuse. And then number one of all is the quarterback. You are the X factor.
That's quarterback in the league.
Like, come on, man. They paid everybody. They paid everybody.
3-time MVP.
And his cap number next year is utterly ridiculous. So you better win this year.
What, 75 million, something like that?
Come on, that's come on. He's never seeing that money. Never. No.
No, he already got that money. I mean, it's just a matter of reducing that cap number.
They have to reduce it. That's what I'm saying. Now you got to do it. But you got to bring home the Lombardi, pal. You got to. Anyway, go ahead, Justin.
That's your thing. That's your thing.
I thought you were saying something. You look like you were fixing your mouth to say something. Anyway, yeah, I just don't want to hear nothing about, well, this and that. We got everything, barring injury. Of course, you always gonna knock on wood, barring injury. But hey, we looking all right now, and it's only July. So let's get out of here, folks. Thanks for tuning in tonight. It's been a very, very, very detailed show. We haven't even talked about the Orioles. We didn't get to a lot of stuff that I had planned, but it was just one of them nights. You know what I mean? That's a good show. So if you're watching this postpartum, we know the Orioles got shut out, almost a no-hitter thrown on them night. We're not ignoring it. It just wasn't top of mind.
Yeah, we are.
Let's move on. And we'll be back next week. Next week will be July. Wow, man. Good grief. So we'll be back into the month of July 2nd. Kings were born in July, weren't they, Calvin? Man, that's a hell of a month, man.
It's a great
month.
That's
a hell of a month.
It's a great month.
That's a hell of a month. So next week we'll be here, and we'll continue our countdown.
Don't give me that look with your old ass.
Previewing all the NFL teams leading up with our next 3 next week. And we'll get into some more NBA offseason because we know there's going to be some moves happening over the next week. And we'll have a little bit more time to talk some Orioles and things of that nature. So thanks for tuning in. For Calvin, Justin, I'm Larry. We'll see you next week right here for another edition of Get Off the Damn Fence. Good night.